Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the McDonCast, the funnest podcast in town.
You know,
the only podcast around.
I'm just thinking about this now. Does McPodcast, is that better? A McPodcast?
No, because, okay, so the reason we did McDonCast instead of McPodcast is because I think the Mc suffix specifically does put us in, like, legally dubious
because of,
area,
like, the McMuffin.
Which is why we have, like, everything is McDon instead of Mick, because that way we can...
Well, we used to put Mick something in all the titles, and I just stopped doing that.
Yeah, but it was fun.
I don't think it was good for SEO.
Oh, it was terrible for that, but who cares?
Because none of it was real words. It was like, I don't know what to do. I think the YouTube algorithm was like, I don't know what to do with this gibberish.
I mean, the only way you can grow on YouTube now is through shorts anyway.
That's true.
And we don't do that, so like it didn't make a difference.
I sometimes I think about it. I'm like, I just have to sit there and listen to our show.
I had someone offer to like edit the podcast into clips for us.
I'm fine editing it. I just need someone to do clips.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The clips is what I was talking about, but like it just takes so long. Like it's...
There is AI that does it, but you have to pay for like
the
a
ROI
bunch of
on
money.
that could work.
Yeah,
but
I've thought about it.
It would. I mean, at this point, you know, we could just not eat McDonald's and then do that.
That's true, dude. The amount of money we have lost is astronomical. Someone asked me that about like how often I go to the movies. Like, how much have you think you've spent on movie tickets in your life? I'm like, oh, literal thousands of dollars. Like.
Well, for me,
it's not financially sustainable.
Since I got Movie Club, it's just however much that is.
Yeah, you're just paying like $20 a month or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's 14. So because you get
that's
free
a
tickets.
Good deal.
Yeah,
and you don't go as often.
No, you do get discounts on the concessions, and I do spend money on concessions every time. But a $3 soda is a lot more doable.
It's wild that the discount knocks it down to like $3. It's like normally $4.50 or $5.
It's so stupid.
And that's medium. That's not even like the large.
It just makes the prices normal. It doesn't even.
No, yeah, it puts it down to normal.
Discount. It just makes it slightly more.
Which, like, the fact that is the level of like that's 1/5. The fact that they're willing to chop that much off just shows you the ROI they're getting.
Crazy upcharge.
But honestly, I'm fine with it. Oh, I'm partially fine with it. Oops. I knocked my microphone.
The $10 pizzas, though, that's such a busted deal. How are they affording to do that?
Because the pizzas don't taste very good.
No, but it's like a $10, but nothing in a theater tastes very good.
The popcorn does.
The popcorn tastes fine, but it's not any better.
Well,
than,
it depends on the theater, but
it's not any better than like other
popcorn.
Theater popcorn. Like it's not special.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And like the drinks are not like. Everything is
it's
and like the hot dogs and everything that isn't the pizza
I would never eat that crap.
is disgusting.
No.
So like considering all of that, like that hot dog is $6. For $4 more, you get a whole pizza.
It's baseball
and it's
prices.
better. Yeah. The pizza's broken.
Yeah, cool. Because the pizza I think was just more food. One hot dog you're paying $7.
Yeah. Which
is like wild. Like again, that's a price I would only pay at a baseball game. But that's because my brain is tailored and like it's. If I'm at a baseball
games are more special.
If I'm at a baseball field, like I have to have a hot dog in my hand at some point. Like it just
has to happen.
Otherwise, I've wasted my time.
I mean, it's like the theater and popcorn. Like you have to buy popcorn.
I've never been a big popcorn guy.
I don't really like popcorn that much either, but I want it when I'm at the theater. I think it's because it's like relatively low calorie and it takes a very long time to eat. Which makes it very good if you're just wanting to snack while you're watching them.
No, I do. I love it when you got that good popcorn just waft of air when you walk into a door. Yeah, that's when you know it's a good movie theater.
Anyways, let me give you guys a brief rundown of today's episode. Sorry we were gone last week. We had
I had pneumonia.
Tucker was
and I'm
sick,
still getting over it. So
and my life was appended. And we had many issues.
A tree fell on Sam's car.
A tree fell on my car, which has made things logistically challenging.
I had to drive to his house at 10 p.m. and pick him up,
which is when we're recording this right now.
Of course.
Actually, it's almost 11. But anyways.
Oh, great! It means it'll be up till 5.
Everybody, we have trailers, and we have the Oscars, and we have Warner Brothers doing what Warner Brothers does. For long-time listeners, you already know. But for those of you who aren't as long-time listeners, you're going to find out.
Lighting hundreds of millions of dollars on fire for
Kathleen Kennedy is the witch of the Wicked Witch of the... Where does she live?
The West. She's
The
in
West.
Hollywood.
Is the Wicked Witch of the West finally gone?
No.
We'll find out, but probably
Not
not.
yet.
And then lastly, the thing most likely to get us assassinated, Avengers Doomsday / Secret War leaks.
Leaks, in quotes. I have theories. You know why I think they're... Well, I guess we'll talk about it later. I don't want to ruin it now. But anyway, Sam, let's talk about some of these trailers. So we got some interesting stuff this week. There was another trailer for the Minecraft movie, the final one for that.
Very good.
We've talked about that at length. I will say there is even more pressure on that movie now to deliver outside of it just being a Minecraft movie. I'm talking financially, but also like the movie business has really struggled these first 3 months of the year. And they're really hoping that Minecraft movie is a Super Mario Bros. Jolt of box office into the business. I think
I'm not worried about it doing well financially.
Honestly, if the reviews are like meddling, I think it's golden.
Yep.
I don't think it even needs really good reviews to be fine.
The vibe I'm getting from this, strong 72 to 78% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's pretty high.
Because I think the average, because this,
I'm sensing a 58 to a 65.
Well, this movie's gonna have a lot of
barely fresh.
This movie's gonna have a lot of very normal people, like people who don't go to every movie. And like they're gonna review higher in general.
This is gonna be one of those things where just all of your friends just go and watch it, and none of them feel all that strongly about it.
Yeah, the creative team behind it is the Avengers of making very average comedies.
I will say, so everyone knows the cast, and it's Jared Hess who did Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre directing,
which are good movies. We like those movies.
True, he's also made some clunkers, and he hasn't directed a feature in about 7 years. But the Writers Guild arbitration finally worked itself out, and we now have the 5 credited screenwriters for this.
Let's go.
None of them have ever done anything of note. This is just five randos who are just
let's do it,
hacking away on drafts of this screenplay for years. So I don't know. I mean, I do know it's probably not going to be great. If I had to put money on it, probably not great.
No, like I said, I think this movie will do very average.
As long as it's not Borderlands, which is a really low bar. But
I see it like what's review
very
wise?
Very similar, like production and creative like outlook as Borderlands.
I see this doing critically about as well as the Five Nights at Freddy's movie did.
Okay, which would be good because Five Nights at Freddy's was like, this is fine.
It was the bit they had.
I did not like that movie much at all, but the general consensus.
It had just the right amount. It was just good enough that like the average person could watch it and wouldn't hate it.
And that movie would have made way more money if they didn't put it day and date on streaming for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, and it had the same a lot of the same hills to climb, where it's a very the fan base is very entrenched and very into the minutia of everything.
Oh my God, they love everything.
Yeah, so like the Minecraft fans, they're committed.
Like,
they're very autistic about all the details being right.
They're locked down, man. They've been it's been around for 16 years at this point. It's an institution.
Like you saw people getting upset at the trailer when he throws like the iron ingots on the thing and it makes a bucket that doesn't exist in the game, and people were like, "That's not in the game."
Yeah, people are gonna just have to get over it. I mean, I think the expectation.
But so far, they're sticking pretty closely to everything that's in the game.
I'm just gonna let everyone know. No one who is the directors and writers of this, maybe some of the writers. The director definitely did not play this video game, and none of the cast did.
I don't know. Maybe he did.
There are kids in the movie. They definitely played Minecraft on their mom's iPad as little kids. Jason
Momoa
Momoa did not play Minecraft. Jack Black definitely does.
Jason Momoa might have played Minecraft.
Maybe for like a minute. He's probably got like
Does he have kids?
No, I don't think so, but he's probably got like a niece or a nephew who he watched play.
Yeah, he's definitely played Minecraft with his nephew.
Yeah, but like none of them are good at
like Uncle Jason. They definitely play.
They gotta like make it simple, like for the general audience, for the moms who don't know anything about Minecraft, who have to take the kids. They gotta like.
Well, that's why Steve is there to explain the name of everything.
Yeah, because he's a funny guy that people know, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay, Jack Black."
It's funny that he says the names of all the things.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to this. I would like it to do well, just because it's not looking great.
They need a win.
Mickey 17 is tanking pretty much.
But it was always going to.
It was always going to.
It was never going to pop.
Maybe if it was better and cost less, but
even if it was, the thing is better for this director means more more challenging to the audience.
Yeah.
Like on it, I think part of the reason why the reception of this movie hasn't been great is because this is the simplest of all the movies that he's made. Like it's not challenging to the audience.
It explains everything
and you expect him to really get into the weeds of an idea and really like kind of challenge and twist that idea around in really creative ways. That didn't really happen very much in this movie.
It's as broad as probably he's capable of, but that's not doing great. Captain America is
doing
falling off. It's probably not going to make it to 400 million worldwide, which would be real bad because it means it's not even going to break even.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then other than that, mostly it's just because there hasn't been really any great movies so far this year. It's been real dry. The only movie I came out of that I really liked a lot was Companion, and that was all the way back in January, and that didn't do great. So I don't, not a lot out really.
I saw Dinner in America.
That movie from 5 years ago?
3 years ago, but it was really good.
That is a very good movie. I really like that. He's made 2 movies. That director,
one of my friends,
his second movie is really good too.
He recommended it, and I was like, "Oh, I've never heard of this movie. That's weird that I've never heard of this movie." And then I was like, "Who made it?" And she listed off. She was like, "These people." I was like, "Oh, that's why I've never heard of it. Those are not real companies."
It's got its biggest name is Kyle Gallner.
Yeah,
who I love. He's great in Strange Darling. Anyway, that's Minecraft talk. Last of Us Season 2 got a trailer. It's coming out in April 18th.
I can't wait for 8 more episodes of Joel action.
I can't. I do too. I love how the trailers. The trailer's doing a really good job of keeping all the shots where he's not in the in the colony out of the trailer. They're doing a really good job of hiding all the parts where he leaves and goes out on that journey.
Yeah, where he goes on his journey.
He goes on a quest with Ellie, yes, and comes back perfectly fine and very alive.
And he's chill. He's
very chill.
He's not dead.
He's gonna be in every. I mean, he is probably gonna be in every episode, but
he'll be in at least 3 of them.
I mean, he's got a lot of memories to flash back to.
There's the whole part of the game where where they're in the aquarium or that.
Oh, you're right. Yep.
That does
mean
happen in the game.
No, I mean it looks like the game. It looks fine.
The game's good, so it'll probably be fine.
I think I've said it before, but I think this story of the second game is more suited to this.
Way less
than
divisive.
The video game. Yeah. Well, there will be just as much people whining that it's too woke for having a woman in it who's got muscles or whatever, but that's fine.
Well, who did they cast as?
It's Caitlin Dever, who I like a lot.
Is she
But she's not. She's not jacked.
Oh,
she's not jacked in this.
Who cares? It's fine. We're good.
Yeah, but she's gonna beat up one guy, and it's gonna be a whole thing.
Yeah, that's okay.
They'll get over it though.
Last of Us Season 1 was able to get the audience who regularly would not to be very sympathetic for a very gay dude. And so I think if any show can pull it off and not come off as pandering or cringe, it's probably The Last of Us.
We'll see. I don't like that it took. I have problems with the first season's ending. I think the final episode of the first season is very underwhelming and not very good.
Well, yeah.
But the rest of that season's pretty strong all around. So
yeah, I mean, I was watching everything.
I'm interested. I know they're breaking up,
especially the beginning. The first 3 episodes, I think, were.
I'm
really,
interested
really
to see what they first episode is, whether or not because there's a very big moment at the beginning of the second game. I'm interested to see if
they'll go for
if they do that in the first episode or they wait 2 or 3. And then the other thing is they're splitting that second game into 2-3 seasons of television.
Oh, wait,
so where they choose to cut it off.
How many seasons are the premiere, or how many episodes is the premiere?
There's 1.
Then it'll happen in the first.
I would think you'd have to.
Yeah,
but I would
because you need it to trend so people watch it.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking you gotta spread out because
there's plenty of game to cover.
I'm not talking about game. I'm talking about that. There's only you do that. You only have so much of that specific element, and you might want to divvy that up more throughout the show.
I think for
audience appeal.
I don't know. The Band-Aid off.
But it's also a shorter season than season 1. This one's only going to be 7 episodes. 2 years for 7 episodes, which is
that concerns me because the second game story-wise is there's a lot more going on.
But they're splitting it into multiple seasons. They said I think it was going to be 1, and then it was 2. Then there was going to be 3, and now they're saying it could go all the way up.
The third season was going to be its own unrelated thing.
No, they're saying they're probably going to make the second game 4 up to season 4, which is a lot. I mean, the second game is very long, But I mean,
not that long.
But also, like, you have to break
not
the narrative.
Attack on Titan season 4, part 3, part 2.
You have to break
long.
the narrative into 3 chunks that it's not set up to be broken into to do that. So I would be interested to see how they tackle it.
I could see doing one season, one character, one season, the other, and then maybe one or
that,
2 episodes.
I mean, that would be
where they come together.
that would be an interesting way to do it. I think that would be asking a lot of the audience,
especially for
an entire season of that.
I mean, Attack on Titan.
I think how they're
saying this, but Attack on Titan pulled that off.
I think how they're going to end up doing it is one episode, and you're just jumping back and forth.
Now,
episode.
I will say, Attack on Titan did have a lot of the same criticisms that the second Last of Us game got when season 4 came out.
Sam tried to go an entire podcast without mentioning Attack on Titan. Challenge impossible.
You should just watch it. I don't understand. Literally, never mind. But the 4th season starts off with a group of characters that are not related at all in any way to the main characters.
Yeah.
And they are slowly integrated into the story through that season, over the course of the 3 seasons that was season 4. And a lot of people did not like. They were like, "I hate these guys. These guys suck." But then eventually they got over it.
I mean, you have to approach it differently here because, like, obviously, Attack on Titan a lot more niche than like live action Sunday night HBO programming.
Story beat wise, it's very similar.
Yeah, I'm saying like you have to kind of like break it down so the audience, like your mainline audience, can go along with that kind of decision. But I think I think you're right. I think they will do that in the first episode because 7 is an interesting number. I think it'll be like, because if you don't know, The Last of Us 2, it's one big section where you play as one character and then it kind of cuts and you play that same period of time as a separate character. I think how they'll do it in this show is they'll cover that time at the same time. They'll just jump. Every episode will focus on this set, and then like episode 2 will focus on this character. Episode 3 go to the other one. 4 back to the first character. Like do that. I think that would probably be the best way to tackle it.
A lot of the second characters stuff is like flashbacks and backstory stuff.
Well, like that's going to be a lot of the season anyway.
Yeah, and
there was quite a bit of that in season 1. There was like 2 or 3 whole episodes that were just flashbacks.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think it'll just happen in this. I think it'll just be this same structure as the first season. It'll just be those flashback episodes will just be about her.
It is going to feel weird to go back to watching this show after 2 years.
Yeah.
I think 2 years, it's a long time. I mean, I know there were the strikes, but I don't know. It's just weird when these shows take this long because you have to get back into like the tonal groove. And The Last of Us is depressing. Yeah. That is a show that is like, I can't go to sleep after watching that because it just makes me sad. Like, I think I was watching like some sitcom. It might have been like How I Met Your Mother or something when the first season was coming out. And I would literally have to like purge like immediately after watching The Last of Us just because I was so depressed after
I remember those episodes being rough sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway, and then, okay, we have 2 other more interesting teasers. So the first one was they put out a 30... Sorry. There's going to be some of that. I'm still getting over pneumonia. The first thing is they put out a 30-second teaser for Shrek 5, which was interesting because this movie doesn't come out for over a year. It doesn't come out until Christmas of next year. In it, they reveal Shrek's new design, and there was much kerfuffle and debate and online conversation.
I think that was the most forced commentary I'd ever seen.
I can't imagine a reason they did it other than to generate that.
He's barely different.
He is.
He's like his eyebrows.
They all do look different.
They all look different, but like barely. Yeah. Like they look like.
I will say, as a man sitting next to a Shrek poster right now, Shrek enthusiast, right? I'm not upset about this at all. Like I don't.
No, it looks fine.
It looks fine.
It doesn't look bad, and like it looks like if you were to just make it more a more detailed version of the character.
It does look a little bit more in line with Puss in Boots 2. It doesn't look completely like that, but Puss in Boots 2, they took it on a more like
it's a more stylized look.
Stylized, cartoonish look, and it does look a little bit more like that as opposed to the original 4 movies. They redesigned all of the main characters. So Shrek looks a little different. I honestly think Fiona looks the most different out of the 3. And then Donkey just looks a little bit more mangy than before.
And then his daughter's eye color was wrong, I think.
Yeah, there was
some. And then so that has caused some
Oh yeah. The big reason they put this out is because they was announcing that Zendaya is going to voice his daughter. In
Yeah.
This. Which I had kind of
And
thought
also
this was going to be a
Shrek memes are canon to Shrek.
That's the least surprising thing ever. If you've seen, there were some people genuinely complaining about that, and I'm like, guys,
no, that is
there is an extended parody of cops in Shrek 2. Like this is not new.
Well within
for the Shrek franchise.
Bounds of what Shrek is capable.
Honestly,
of.
it would feel wrong if they didn't, because especially that original movie is so tied in to pop culture in the late 90s. Yeah. Like that is exactly what that movie was, and kind of gives it most of its charm. So the fact that they would be referencing this in Shrek 5 in 2025 is not.
Well, I think you kind of have to. I think you have to do it because, like, in the same way where like Space Jam 2 had to be like an IP fest,
had to be like a semi-commentary on the fact that it is Space Jam 2.
Yeah, and like Space Jam 1 was like
an advertisement,
a parody of itself.
Yeah,
in its time, like these are movies that are like almost endemic of the time in which they are made, and so like that is part of the Shrek culture of the day.
I'm not concerned about the animation. I think it's fine.
Oh, I think it looks good.
Some people complain that Zendaya's in things, and I'm like, she's usually good in everything. I'm really not that concerned. So I don't.
That's fine.
She's voicing the daughter. I'm guessing the story is going to focus on them too. That's a fine approach. My only real concern with Shrek 5 is Kung Fu Panda 4. Because that was awful, and it completely turned that franchise into like the Minions structure. The way Despicable Me and Minions, like the more recent ones have been made, is they're basically just a series of vignettes with very little narrative cohesion and just kind of dumb things happening, so that DreamWorks can split them into clips, then post them on YouTube and make a bunch of money that way.
Right. My
concern is that they would do that to this movie.
I don't think so.
But I think Puss in Boots 2 was great and wasn't that. So,
but it didn't make as much money as
it didn't make as much money, but this will. So like I'm not like
also I think
this is probably going to make $1 billion.
I think they know even though it is a kids movie, the audience is not necessarily
it's even older than the Kung Fu Panda audience, because that movie came out in like 2008 and the first Shrek came out all the way 2001. I mean, the people who saw that movie when they were 10 are in their 30s and almost 40 now. So,
and Shrek is a lot more willing to kind of play around with adult jokes and adult topics than something like Kung Fu Panda is.
I will say this is some crowded competition because it's coming out next Christmas. It is going up against Jumanji 4.
Worried about Jumanji.
Ice Age 6, which is eating into the same target audience, although Shrek is bigger than Ice Age. Kind of a dumb decision on Disney's part to put that out 5 days before Shrek. Dune Messiah, and then it's Shrek 5, and then Robert Eggers' Werewolf. But I would say that and then also in late November you have a new movie from Disney Animation and Chronicles of Narnia. So that's like 4 movies that are all aiming for that family audience, with Shrek 5, Ice Age, Jumanji, and then Disney's movie in Narnia.
I think Disney's movie will get moved.
No, it won't, because that's coming out at Thanksgiving, and they don't miss a date.
Oh yeah, not Thanksgiving.
Those come out.
I think Ice Age will get moved.
Ice Age is probably going to have to move, either back or forward. I would move it up, because
Disney's not going to do competition with itself.
No, I would move it up to like October.
Oh, to like October.
Or even summer. I think that would be a fine, because you'd get the contrast.
Werewolf.
It's hot outside, but we're seeing Ice Age.
Werewolf isn't going to move, and Dune isn't going to move.
They don't have to worry though, because those are competing with each other, but they're not worried about Ice Age or Shrek.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, it competes with Ice Age
and Jumanji. I mean, Jumanji. Hey,
Jumanji is.
You think it's dumb, and it is dumb because none of those movies are great. But I mean, they do numbers, pretty much. Yeah. The last one did less than Welcome to the Jungle, but it still did good.
What even was that?
And it did come out against.
I don't think we saw it, or I didn't see it.
We did, but we saw it.
I saw Welcome to the Jungle.
We did. No, I remember we did, but it was quite a bit after the first one. I mean, it was quite a bit after it had come out.
Because I didn't see the one with the grandpas.
Yeah, we did. No, you did. You don't remember it, but it's fine.
Well, what happened? I don't think I saw it.
No, we did. I remember I saw it with you. It was during COVID.
I remember.
So it was like 10 months after it come out, but it was playing in empty theaters at 25% capacity, and we went and we saw it. paid like $1 for the ticket or whatever.
I mean, I remember watching Welcome to the Jungle. I think we saw it with Graham.
We did. I remember watching Welcome to the Jungle. That came out. I remember that theater being packed.
Yeah.
I remember that was like probably a week after it come out. Because it came.
I don't remember this.
It came out the week that Last Jedi came out as like counter programming, and I remember that movie did giant. That movie made almost $1 billion, and a lot of it made over just Christmas break because it was like a big Christmas break movie. And
in that case, we will keep getting them forever.
Well, this is supposed to be the last one, so.
Because one of them made $1 billion.
Almost $1 billion.
That means we get them forever.
They will do more. It's the question is because it's like the cast, because you have to get Kevin Hart and The Rock and Jack Black and Karen Gillan to come back. And
well, a lot of those actors...
The Rock loves to sign deals to make movies that he'll never actually end up making. So the problem is you got to get him while he's not busy.
Well, I mean, he's not busy right
Jungle
now.
Cruise 2.
I mean, he's doing...
never.
He's doing WrestleMania, but like aside from that, he's not busy.
He's got that Safdie Brothers movie coming out.
Did you see John Cena turned evil?
He did. I did see that. It was a big moment.
I
don't knock wrestling fans. They seem like they're having a good time.
It seems like a really fun time to be a wrestling fan. Like that seems like like Superman turned evil.
Yeah, no, that was what everyone was talking about. It was like if like the main character turned bad, which is fun. Like that's good.
That's a fun plot.
I could never watch like WWE. I would just be bored. But if you're invested in that, man, more power to you.
Yeah, I mean this has got to be a crazy arc. Anyway,
okay, and then the other thing, Sam, is Powerpuff. There was a leaked...
Once again.
Yes.
We are so far
literally
ahead
going
of the
back
game.
to season 1. I think we talked about this for the first time on the second episode of the show. Ever.
Yeah.
So this was back in 2020. The CW announced they were doing a pilot for a live-action Powerpuff Girls sequel reboot.
And there was a leaked script.
Series for adults. And they shot the pilot. They didn't pick it up. There were set photos of them shooting it, and then parts of the script leaked like a couple months after they shot it in like 2021. And we heard nothing about it until earlier this week. And earlier this week, a cut trailer from the pilot, I guess to show to the network as like a pitch for the show. Yeah, like
fully leaked.
Fully leaked. And it's like 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
You can't find it on Twitter or YouTube, but if you look, you can find it.
And it is exactly the script leaks.
Yeah, no, it looks awful. Like, there's a reason this wasn't picked up. So it's Chloe Bennett from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Dove Cameron, who was a Disney Channel star, and I think now makes, like, bad pop music. And then one other lady whose name I don't remember. And they were supposed to be, like, the Powerpuff Girls in their early 20s. And they're trying to fight crime, but, you know, they're also... getting very drunk.
Their lives are a mess.
Having sex and stuff. That was the pitch. If that sounds like a bad pitch.
And Mojo Jojo is like just a guy.
Yeah.
Like just
it was
a
like
regular guy.
So in the trailer, it's revealed that the animated series exists within the world of this show as like a marketing agent for the real life versions.
Yeah.
And there was like all this merch, and they were whitewashed because they're all white in the cartoon, but in the live action show, they would have been like mixed race.
Also,
like
Professor Plutonium
is a black guy.
So, like, did he whitewash himself?
I guess he seems. I think the original.
He's also like a quasi antagonist.
I had heard when they announced the show back in like 2020 that he was supposed to be like a not.
Yeah, he was like in a not abusive.
But he looks
father,
like in this, like he would have been like, I'm your dad and I make mistakes, but at the end of the day, we're all family, kind of thing. So I don't know what they were doing with that. He was also going to be played by an actor who's like the same age as...
The script leaks were like...
They're awful.
He was like a quasi-antagonist. He was like a bad dad, and he kind of sold out his daughters and all that.
No, but this looks terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it looks awful.
Obviously, this has like temp sound effects and like unfinished VFX and stuff because they didn't pick up the show. But no, this... I will say, it would have been hilarious to get this like a season of this.
I would have
watched the memes crap out of that. No, yeah, that would have been amazing, but you know,
it would have been right up there with Titans.
Instead, we got like 3 more seasons of Riverdale after this. That's what the CW spent their money on. I think I think they're down to 1 original show.
Would this have been better than Endgame Riverdale?
Okay, as a person who didn't watch any of Riverdale, I cannot confirm nor deny.
As a person who watched 4 seasons of Riverdale, and
I know many people who watched The whole thing all the way through.
And then I watched, do you know the YouTuber Super Eye Patch Wolf?
No.
You would really like his stuff, but he made a whole like video essay covering the absurdity of like the later seasons of Riverdale. It gets so much dumber than whatever you think is possible.
Mm-hmm.
They have like reality altering.
I know they
like,
get
witches.
like superpowers and time travel and
yeah, it gets so dumb.
Ghosts and stuff at a certain point.
By the way, the first season was a murder mystery.
Yeah. I watched like the first few episodes of Netflix did a Chilling Adventures of Sabrina show. It was like in the same universe. And I watched like a couple episodes of that and that was like fine. But I know Riverdale is like genuinely conceived.
It's a whole nother beast.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But you know, that was like the poster boy for the CW formula.
Mm-hmm.
Because they kind of moved in phases, like the Vampire Diaries was like their big thing, and before that it was Smallville, Supernatural, and then it.
But even like Smallville never got that stupid.
Smallville got dumb. Smallville honestly started off pretty dumb.
The Flash got really stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But it got stupid in, I think, a way that comics kind of get stupid after a while.
And it never really got that much dumber than your average Flash comic book.
Exactly, which is why it wasn't as jarring.
It was really, the laughable part of the Flash was just like the format in which it was being done. Because like, you can make a dumb 30-page issue of a comic.
One of the Flash's greatest enemies is a talking gorilla.
And it can be fine. The problem is like they had to do 20 episodes a year that were 45 minutes, and they had to like treat it seriously, which was the issue.
Whereas, like, Riverdale, it started off very serious. And honestly, it started off pretty good. Like, the early seasons of Riverdale, they were nothing spectacular. Mm-hmm. But it was, like, the pinnacle of, like, edgy teen drama series. Mm-hmm. Like, they were doing everything right if that's your target,
which
like,
is
audience.
A big audience. It
was a big show teens, for a long time. But by the end, it was unrecognizable.
Which honestly, I think that is preferred.
Oh, for sure.
Like if it had just stayed like whatever. I mean, I know its first season was like relatively like just gritty Archie. Mm-hmm. Like I think if it had just stayed that for 7 years, people would have gotten bored by like season 3. So I feel like the fact that people it got dumber, like kind of kept it relevant in a way.
Yeah, they kept upping the stakes, and then they just kind of ran out of a place to go.
Like that's when you become Supernatural. Because Supernatural ran for like 20 years and like no one talked about it for like the last 15.
Yeah, because like, everyone's like, all right.
But if you get dumb and you make your teen murder mystery, like gives people reality warping superpowers and witches show up, like people are going to be talking.
People will get back in.
Yeah, they'll watch it. If nothing, just because they're curious.
Alrighty, what's next?
Sam, we're 2 weeks late on it now, and no one cares even more than they didn't care before. But the 97th Academy Awards have occurred. I watched the entire show. I made my predictions. I was very wrong several times. I did predict the major categories for the most part, with like 2 exceptions.
I only made predictions on the show, and I don't remember what they were.
Yeah, that's fine. But big recap. So the winners were Anora.
Makes sense.
Which won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Editing, and Best Actress for Mikey Madison. It was the big upset because it was thought that Demi Moore was going to win for The Substance. Mikey Madison, who was kind of conceived as the runner-up, ended up winning for Anora. Good for Mikey Madison. Gave a great speech. Amazing in Anora. Incredible performance.
Still have not seen Anora, but I will watch it eventually.
Demi Moore, good in The Substance. Kind of sucks for her because she'll probably never have a chance at this ever again. She doesn't. Why not? Just because she doesn't do a lot of movies in general that get a lot of attention, and this was kind of seen as her moment.
She might now that she's been
maybe
nominated.
She can get something now, but the way that the award season kind of works is like they pick like 4 people every year, and if it passes you over, then too bad. We got to do someone else next year. Yeah. But kind of sucks for her. But Sean Baker set a record with 4 Academy Award wins for a single motion picture in one night. Because he wrote Anora, he directed it, he edited it, and then he was a producer on it. So he won 4 Academy Awards just by himself. He also gave great speeches about preserving indie film and the theatrical exhibition model and how that needs to be maintained, and we need to give movies longer theatrical windows. None of that crap's going to happen, but it's a nice sentiment to share. Yeah. Adrian Brody won Best Actor. That was kind of generally foretold. Timothy Chalamet was seen as maybe could win for A Complete Unknown, but he didn't win any of the major precursor awards except for SAG. So Adrien Brody kind of walked away with that. Gave the longest speech in Oscar history at 5.5 minutes. Kind of rambled for a lot of it. They started to play him off after 2 minutes, and he made them stop playing music. He thanked his partner's kids, and his partner is Harvey Weinstein's ex-wife, and her kids are Harvey Weinstein's kids. Which, like,
I mean, hey,
that's not their fault.
We don't know if they did anything wrong.
If anyone did, it was maybe her, because you probably would have known that he was at least a bad dude. Anyway,
but
neither here nor there.
Probably a victim.
But
it was Harvey Weinstein.
Part of his speech was fine, and honestly, kind of interesting because he is a very interesting actor. He won an Academy Award back in 2003 for The Pianist. And then after that, and he was the youngest winner ever for Best Actor for that movie. And then after that, he really had a kind of struggling career. He didn't do a lot of major movies or get a lot of attention. He did like even some TV and direct to VOD crap. But he gave a pretty good speech about like how you can be at the top and then lose it all, and you have to like keep working and keep trying, which was fun.
I don't even know who this guy is.
Because it was fun to see him win again for
what was he in?
He won it for The Brutalist.
Was he the main guy?
He was the main guy in The Brutalist. But that was kind of fun. And then he just kind of gave this like really weird diatribe of platitudes about like the speech you hear at every award show where it's like, I'm being called on to inspire love and hope in the world, and it's my burden and I have to do it, and there's a lot of hate, like just the normal stuff.
I'm saving the world.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And he went on for that for like 3 minutes and eventually got like get off of the stage. And it was it was especially annoying because like, the craftsmen, the technical people, they get up to talk, and if they're like over 31 seconds, they just cut the telecast. Like those people are not allowed to speak over their allotted time. But Adrien Brody was they just let him go on forever about nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's his time again.
Kieran Culkin won for Best Supporting Actor for A Real Pain. He's good in that movie. Speech was nice. That was pretty much a lock from the beginning of awards season. He won everything. There was really no conversation, which kind of sucks because there were some really good supporting actor performances.
Yeah, I was surprised Paloma Diamond didn't win.
Yeah, I was too. Zoe Saldana won for Best Supporting Actress for Emilia Perez. So that movie's implosion.
They got their one thing.
She got out of that free. It's going to be interesting as like a trivia question in 3 or 4 years when it's like Zoe Saldana has an Oscar. What movie was that for? And everyone's going to have to rack their brains to remember that Emilia Perez was nominated for 13 Academy Awards when it came out. Conclave won Best Adapted Screenplay. Flow won Best Animated Feature, which that was kind of remarkable.
I was surprised, yeah.
Because that beat out The Wild Robot.
It was really, really good. Like, I'm not surprised it won, but like, it deserved to win, but I'm surprised that it did win.
Yeah, because it was a tiny little movie from Latvia made by like 30 people.
Made by one dude on his laptop
and Blender.
Like some animal handlers.
I will say that movie having no dialogue probably really helped it a lot.
Yeah, because you have to watch them.
Well, no, because that and also there's no translation.
Yeah.
So there's no barrier to entry because a lot of people don't.
Anyone in any country can watch that movie.
Most people don't watch international movies just because they don't want to read subtitles. So if there's nothing to read.
But a dog barks the same in every language.
That movie was almost too cute for me to sit through.
That movie's so good.
I got to the point where it's like, this cat is too cute, and if too many bad things happen to the cat, I'm not gonna be able to watch this movie.
Luckily, not too many bad things happen to the
cat. And then
just the right amount of bad things.
Yeah, and then I'm Still Here won Best International Feature, which pretty much killed. When that happened, we knew Emilia Perez is
dead in the water. Yeah.
They're not doing that. No Other Land won Best Documentary.
I saw that was
which was a little controversial. I mean, it won the award. The interesting thing about that is that movie does not even have U.S. distribution, and it still doesn't.
Yeah,
it won an Academy Award, and no studio, minor or major, or indie, is even
probably
trying to pick that up.
Yeah,
which is interesting that not even like Mubi did pay like $12.
I mean, you'd think Netflix or like Hulu would just.
I don't even know because Disney would never touch it, but.
No, but you like Hulu.
I'm surprised, like Village Roadshow.
Hulu's the dirty stick they use to like poke stuff they don't want to.
I would think like some minor, like Mubi like Air Neon,
like
some
Blumhouse.
tiny little distributor would pick that up.
I could see or what's the one horror streaming service?
Shudder.
Shudder might throw it on there.
That would be interesting. Below the line categories, Dune Part 2 walked away with Best Sound and Best Visual Effects. Deserved more. It was never going to win more.
Which one?
Dune 2.
Dune 2 should have won a lot of things.
Probably should have been in genuine consideration for Best Picture.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the best movie I watched last year.
I will say, I think a lot of the Academy is just expecting to be able to like give all the awards to Dune Messiah. And that comes out.
No, I think this was too big. I think this was too Marvel-y.
I don't think it's Marvel.
It was too much of a spectacle movie for them to.
But the thing is like occasionally, if it's enough of like an achievement, where it is a big blockbuster, they will give it Best Picture. I think the big thing people are comparing this to is Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I would say that's a better comparison.
The first two were nominated for a bunch of stuff, but didn't win anything. And then the third, Return of the King, swept the Academy Awards that year as kind of like an award for making all three.
That's a risky gamble, though.
I think a lot of people are expecting that with Messiah. The thing is that the
Messiah, I don't think
Dune Messiah
is good.
is weird. And
yeah,
I think a lot of the Academy doesn't know that. They're just expecting it to just kind of be more of Dune 2.
Like, I think it will be good, but I don't think it will be as
mainstream,
for sure.
Or at least if it is, they're going to have to do some pretty major alterations.
Yeah, they're going to have to really tune it in.
I do think Warner Brothers is going to give that movie a bigger push, though, because they're also opening that movie in December, which is in the midst of award season, as opposed to Dune 2, which came out in like early March.
Yeah.
Which is the main reason it didn't get any traction.
Everyone forgot.
Because the earlier you come out, the less people care for the most part.
And that's one of those movies where you kind of have to see it in IMAX, and if you watch it at home,
yeah, the Academy, who is mostly people watching movies on DVD for like an hour and then turning them off.
I don't understand why they don't just release the IMAX cut of the movie when they release it on video platforms.
I don't know.
Like, there's nothing stopping you.
I think Nolan does for his.
Yeah, he probably like legally requires them to do it.
Yeah,
but like, why? You have a better cut.
I mean,
just upload it.
Studios don't release most of their stuff on physical media anymore. There was an article that came out today that was like,
I'm not even saying put it on HBO Max.
They just don't want to.
Why?
Well, you know who does? Is actually Disney does.
Yeah,
the Marvel movies, the IMAX versions they put out on Disney Plus, and you can stream them. It's just like an option. You just go to it on the tab, which is like good for them.
Yeah,
I think it's mainly because
that's what I'm saying. Like, you have it.
I think it's because IMAX is a separate company. And they have to I think they do. I think they have to make an agreement with IMAX to put out the IMAX version of the movie. Because that's what happened with Disney Plus, is the Disney Plus IMAX cuts of the Star Wars and Marvel movies,
are probably
they're like officially sponsored by IMAX.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the reason, is they want to have to like give them any money. Especially Warner Brothers, who is broke as broke can be right now.
Yeah, I don't care. Do it anyway.
Other stuff.
I want to see it.
Wicked, best costume design, best production design.
Yeah, that's fair.
Deserved. Brutalist won cinematography, also deserved.
I didn't see it, but that sounds...
Substance, best makeup,
right.
Expected. Well, kind of expected. Gross makeup, but a lot of makeup and very good makeup.
That's how you win. You have a gross guy.
Amelia Perez, Biggest Loser, walked away with 2 awards. Best Supporting Actress for Zoe Saldana, and I think that was more just for the fact that they all like Zoe Saldana.
They had to give somebody an award.
I think they just like her, and they wanted to give her an award. And they were like, we'll just forget that it's for this awful movie.
Why didn't they just wait till next year and then give it to her for Avatar?
Because she doesn't do... This is the only, like, not franchise movie she's made in, like, 20 years.
Yeah, but I'm saying just give her Best Supporting Actress for Avatar.
They don't want to give the Avatar sequels anything, I don't think.
They gave her one for Amelia Perez.
But, you know, the sad truth is they all really loved Amelia Perez. They just didn't vote for it because of the optics. If you looked at, because the trades put out a lot of anonymous ballots in the weeks leading up, and a lot of the people who were doing those were like, you know, Amelia Perez is amazing, and I loved it. It's my favorite movie of all time, but I can't vote for it because the star is racist. Like there was literally that, because they just loved it because it was like everything. It was like everything that the Academy like dreams movies of, which
was made for them,
which is like easily accessible. They don't have to leave their home to watch it. Filled with political messaging that they feel good about themselves for supporting.
Very easy political messaging.
Weird genre mixing that makes them feel like, oh, this is something I've never seen before.
It's Artur.
Yeah, it's all of that stuff. A Complete Unknown, 0 wins, walked away with nothing.
That's a shame.
It's kind of a shame. Very good movie, but I mean, I don't really know what I would give it
Yeah, it didn't.
Other than Best Actor.
It wasn't better than. It wasn't overwhelmingly better than anything else this year.
Yeah.
It was just really solid all around. Like, I definitely recommend it, but I can see why it didn't really win much.
Other stuff, Conan hosted this year.
I saw
Actual
his
good
funny clips.
hosting.
I saw a couple funny
It
clips from
was
him.
honestly kind of strange to not be annoyed when the host came out on stage to do a bit.
They should just have him do all the Oscars.
Apparently, they're very happy with him.
Yeah.
Because he did a thing that people actually liked and wasn't Jimmy Kimmel and was like Jimmy Kimmel literally, I think he hosted 4 times. Like every single time, half of his monologue was he was literally just like reading Trump tweets, just being like, "Isn't this guy a goof?
There's a horse loose in the hospital."
Yeah, it was just like, we get it, Jimmy. Thanks, buddy.
We're doing the Oscars.
Also,
right
Conan
now,
seems like he actually like watches movies and like likes them.
he has opinions,
Which is different than Kimmel, who watched absolutely nothing. Like you could tell he didn't watch any.
no,
of the
he's
movies.
just there for the vibe.
He was just there because he's like
His
ABC's
buddies
guy.
are here. Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, viewership was slightly up. 19.7 million viewers, up from 19.5 last year.
That surprised me.
Still
The viewership
half
went
of
up
what
for
the
first
viewership
time.
was a decade ago, but I don't think it's ever going to get that high ever again.
No, and I would be curious to see how it did on streaming.
Part of that was, because this was the first one ever streamed on Hulu.
Yeah.
But that was awful. Yeah, I cannot believe.
Was it another, like, they didn't have the
Constant
servers up and
technical
running?
problems, and they cut it the allotted time.
That surprises me because
It cut
Hulu
off.
has a live TV service feature.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the main thing was that after the allotted time for the stream had run out, and the Oscars always runs long. After that had run out on the
It
Hulu,
just cut.
It just cut, and it didn't come back up. So if you were watching it only on Hulu, you missed the final 2 awards, which is Best Actress and Best Picture.
awesome.
You just didn't see them.
So
like,
they're trying to blackmail you into paying for it.
I was watching it on Hulu on my TV, and I had to, when it cut, I literally had to go dig and find my TV antenna and hook it up so that I could get ABC to tune in. And then I got half of the Best Actress announcement and then Best Picture. It's like,
crazy.
this is great. It's 2025.
See, I was
We have
at
been
work.
doing online streaming video has been a standard practice in the entertainment business for 20 years at this point, and we still can't crack it.
Yeah, I was at work, so I was just seeing on Twitter, like, people saying who won.
But it was great. I couldn't believe. I mean, I like Netflix. Like they constantly have issues with their live streaming.
Netflix has gotten better, though.
They've gotten better, but I mean,
and
like,
they got better pretty quick.
but that Mike Tyson
That
Jake
kicked
Paul
him in the
fight
pants.
was
Yeah.
like abysmal. They got
really
it.
bad.
They got it working for the NFL on Christmas. I will. give them
Yeah.
that. They got that working pretty good. But like other than that,
It does surprise me that Hulu didn't work, especially because, again,
yeah.
they offer live TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we had it for a while, and we never had problems
Live
with it.
streaming isn't hard. Like it's not like
It is harder than it seems because you have to pay for a certain amount of bandwidth, like to stream.
okay, but if you're ABC and you're owned by Disney and you're broadcasting a show for 20 million people, maybe invest some money in the bandwidth for your live stream.
The problem is
Or
it's,
if you're Netflix, and
it's
you're live
almost
streaming-
guaranteed not to be profitable because that's 20 million people that you're paying for the bandwidth.
Either way,
for.
I mean that's where this is moving. Like the Oscars is hosting talks
it's
with
more
Netflix
profitable
about
long
taking
term,
over.
but I'm saying for like single event streams, it's not.
They're gonna have to work.
and
it
I think they will work it out eventually, but I think we're kind of in the early days of like random one-off event streams.
Yeah.
Like it's only happened.
I mean,
really,
Netflix
major ones only a couple times.
is doing more consistent stuff. They're doing WWE Raw every Monday live, and then John Mulaney has a
How
talk
on
show
earth did Tubi
that's
going to
start doing live on Wednesday. Oh, it's because it's owned by Fox Network. That's why. Because Fox, the network, had
That makes sense.
the broadcast rights, and I didn't know they owned Tubi until that happened.
Yeah, me neither, because I had to download.
I was
it.
curious. I was like, who owns Tubi? And I was like, oh,
Yeah, because again, I was at work while the
Tubi.
Super Bowl was happening.
goated streaming service. Love Tubi.
Zero problems, and it was like 4K the whole
Zero
time.
problems. It has ads, but it's free,
Yeah,
and they're honestly not that bad.
Tubi's
And
actually kind of goated.
It's filled with absolute garbage, but it's also filled with like genuinely like actual gems that aren't completely impossible to find.
Yeah,
And it's also one of the only services where they have movies that are made before like 1995 on it. Like if you go to HBO Max and Netflix has like maybe 4 movies on that service that were made
like,
before 2000. Like you actually have to like dig around and find them. Like Tubi will be like, hey, like the hundreds of beloved movies from the 70s and 80s, like
Here you
can
go.
watch them here. And HBO Max is like, white chicks
Have you
seen?
Would you like to watch White Chicks for the fifth time?
Scary Movie 5? It's like.
Also, they're making White Chicks 2. That got announced this week.
They keep saying that. It's not gonna happen, right?
I can't.
Maybe
it's
scary.
okay.
Maybe a Scary Movie 6 does well.
Maybe
because they're also
this
doing.
Might
that
be
first.
a hot take. White Chicks kind of sucks.
No, it's bad.
It's like not.
No,
very
it's
funny.
not good.
Like the concept, I understand how this movie got made because conceptually it is funny. Like the idea of like two burly black dudes dressing up as white chicks and having to blend in with white chicks for a secret mission.
But Sam, it wouldn't be
funny
allowed
idea.
if it was the opposite premise.
How could you do it though?
No.
I think you could.
Absolutely, you
Hang on.
could not.
If
Maybe on the Daily Wire Plus.
If there was any time where you could maybe get away with it.
Never. You could
It
get away
would
with
be
it in
now.
1940 or 1925 when Birth of a Nation was big. Like, you could not do that now.
What if
Absolutely
it's
not.
Robert Downey Jr.?
Hold on now.
Have we considered?
Have we considered? Yeah, no. What I think the biggest problem with White Chicks is the fact that the Wayans brothers just aren't very funny.
Yeah, it's like, and again, like
if we're being honest.
there's a couple funny moments, but the movie itself is kind of just boring.
Yeah. I would think it's fun, Sam. We're a year out, but I thought it'd be fun to read out some very early 2026 Oscar contenders.
Oh, okay.
What do you think? All right. Do you think it'll get nominated for Best Picture? Just keep in mind there's 10 nominees. Avatar 3.
Best Picture?
Yeah.
No.
2 got nominated. So did the first one.
I don't know. There's it's like a 50-50.
I think
maybe.
I mean, it's probably going to be.
Wait.
fine.
Dune got nominated for Best Picture, right?
True. Yeah.
Then yeah, probably.
I think the thing with this though is they're doing like 5. I don't think they're going to want to nominate it every single one. I think it'll be like they did 1. There was like a 15-year gap till 2.
Yeah.
And then I think they'll be like 3, 4. And then if 5 is great, I think they'll do it again.
I think they will nominate this one because I don't think they know there's going to be 5.
Maybe not, but he's also only been talking about Avatar for 20
No,
years.
but we're the only people that know.
No, everyone knows that.
No,
Everyone knows that.
but they don't.
The Academy?
They don't know.
Because I love the internet.
They don't know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When are my DVD screeners coming in the mail?
Yeah.
They did start using an online. That was a big thing this year, was that they started using an online portal
For them to watch.
to watch the movies on, and apparently it doesn't work. Like it was just it just was
Yeah, I
broken.
mean, that doesn't surprise me.
The Bride.
What is that?
That is a 1930s set Bride of Frankenstein movie from Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Probably not.
Too weird.
Oh, wait, that could maybe get nominated for best makeup. I'm assuming the makeup is good.
Of course. I'm not thinking.
I haven't seen the movie.
No,
I'm
you can see
assuming
it.
the makeup is good.
The Frankenstein makeup's probably going to be good. Deliver Me from Nowhere, the Bruce Springsteen biopic with Jeremy Allen White.
That could maybe get nominated. Not best picture, but something.
I think the hope would be get him a Best Actor win, but I don't think he's at that point yet.
It'll get nominated for something. I don't know what.
Depends on if it's good.
If it's really good, it'll get.
It doesn't have a James Mangold. It's just got some guy directing it. So.
If it's good, it'll get a thing. Some random thing.
One Battle After Another, Paul Thomas Anderson's new movie.
I have no idea what that is.
He's been nominated for his last 2. I don't think he's ever won any. Maybe it's his time. It's the most expensive movie he's ever made. $150
What is
million.
it? What is the movie?
We don't know what it's about.
Oh, are this just stuff that is coming out?
These are just movies that I would guess would be nominated.
Oh,
it's stuff from auteurs that we barely know anything about.
I guess maybe. I don't know. I have zero information.
I'm just throwing out names. Life of Chuck won the TIFF Audience Award, which is usually a good indicator. This is Mike Flanagan's Stephen King adaptation.
Who's Chuck? Chuck from.
That's
Chuck.
on the poster. The poster says, "Who is Chuck?"
So it's not Chuck from the.
It is not
Chuck.
Zachary Levi's Chuck. I don't think he would be allowed at the Academy Awards.
And that show's so good.
Is it?
The first 3 seasons are good, and the 5th season's pretty good. The 4th season's less.
Marty Supreme. This is Timothy Chalamet plays a ping pong player.
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet is in it. It'll get
from one of the Safdie brothers.
If he's in it, it gets nominated for something.
Smashing Machine. Do we think The Rock gets a Best Actor nom?
It's his time.
You think it might be his time?
I think it's his time.
The thing about it being like certain people's time is usually those people are like at least respected in Hollywood.
I think it would be funny.
Do people respect The Rock?
No.
I think, but people,
Not even.
I will say, everyone says he's a very nice guy, which goes a long way for like helping you get places in Hollywood.
But he's also a very.
But I don't think
actor.
anyone's like, that guy has a lot of talent, but he's just in bad movies. I think it's mostly just like he's not very talented and he picks garbage.
But he's a nice guy.
But he's a nice guy.
I don't have any hate for The Rock.
I don't either.
He is.
I wish he would make better
more
crap.
often than not. He is fun in the things that he is in. But
true.
But
I guess
he's the same guy every time.
Sam.
And that guy is not a very in-depth guy.
This is supposed to be his I'm doing an acting. Gonna do a real acting performance.
But is he?
Got this, and he's got that Scorsese movie lined up.
I don't think so.
Sandler didn't even get nominated at the Academy Awards.
Yeah,
but he also has a movie coming out this year.
He was nominated for Uncut Gems or something. I thought
people were really upset about it.
Oh, then he should have been,
because everyone thought he was. Should have been. Wicked 2, Wicked for Good.
It'll get nominated for effects again.
You don't think it'll have a chance? Because this is the last one. They won't. Not making a third. You don't think there's that level of Wicked respect?
As far as I understand, the second half is a lot less popular than the first half of the music.
That's what I have heard. I've heard the songs aren't as good. That is the main thing I've heard.
Yeah,
but they're also doing new songs for this.
I think Wicked, at least part one. I don't think it'll do any worse. I think it'll do about the same, but I don't think it'll be as like we've already done it. It's been done now.
Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
That'll get nominated.
You think?
Yeah.
Did Pinocchio get a Best Picture nom?
Either that or Best Animated.
I know it won Best Animated. I don't think it got a Best Picture. I think it was in talks though.
I mean,
they love
this. The
Academy loves Guillermo.
Yeah, he's getting
Shape of Water won Best Picture.
He's getting in. It's not even. He's getting in.
Hamnet. This is from Chloe Zhao.
Is that like a Hamlet, but he has a lisp?
This is about William Shakespeare's fictional wife dealing with the death of their son while he's writing Hamlet.
That is
based on a book.
It's a silly goose
that I've heard is great. But this is Chloe Zhao, who did Eternals. This is her first feature since Eternals. She did win Best Director and Best Picture, but that was for the 2020 Oscars when there were like 8 movies. So she went for Nomadland.
I don't know about that. I don't think so.
I think hard sell. Other than that, I mean, there's a bunch of movies you've never heard of. Ari Aster's new movie.
I haven't heard of any of these movies.
Ari Aster, director of Hereditary and Beau is Afraid. He gets some mainstream recognition this time. Beau is Afraid was the most self-indulgent thing he could ever make.
I don't think
so. Maybe he does some 180.
I don't think he's capable of making normal things.
Hereditary is somewhat straightforward.
No, but I think
it's more mainstream than his other two.
I think he's on a path of becoming more incomprehensible.
His next movie is a contemporary Western with called Eddington.
Nope. It's going to be The Northman with a cowboy.
I don't think he would make a movie as violent as The Northman.
It won't be as violent, but it will be tonal. It'll be like a weird psychedelic thing with a cowboy.
And then Yorgos Lanthimos and Luca Guadagnino both have new movies this year.
Who are those guys?
Yorgos Lanthimos did Poor Things with Emma Stone.
It was, as far as I understand it,
very weird, but won a lot of awards.
Like it. I heard the concept. I was like, gross. I don't want it.
And then Luca Guadagnino is, of course, your boy, your favorite director.
I hate that guy.
Makes Call Me by Your Name and Challengers and
the worst DC movie.
The upcoming Sergeant Rock.
Sergeant Rock. I was trying to tell Papa because we were talking in the car when he was dropping me off after work because my car is broken down, and I was talking about the upcoming slate of DC movies, and I was saying like James Gunn. Because Papa said that they should have tapped him to run the MCU after Endgame. I was like, no. He should not have been tapped to run anything. Because he's too obsessed with like the weird guys to, I think, make a business-wise a coherent universe. And this upcoming slate of DC movies, I think, is proof of that.
I honestly, like the thing with Gunn, and we talked about this for like an hour last show, so I don't want to talk about it for too long.
We don't got to talk about it too long, yeah.
But the thing with Gunn is that like he's technically co-president. Like Peter Safran's there.
Yeah, but Peter Safran's.
But he's not giving either. Like I think Safran needs to be doing better at reining him in.
Yeah, Any guy who approves a Sergeant Rock movie needs to be
because
reined
Gunn
in.
for the most part doesn't have bad ideas. And like you think about it, like you got Luca Guadagnino, who's like this acclaimed auteur filmmaker, come to a DC movie. Like honestly, like that looks good
idea
for the studio.
No, like I think
it's just the fact that like. Yeah, no, like that project's not going to return your
and that's
investment.
what I'm saying. Like I don't doubt that any of these projects are necessarily going to be abysmal or like terrible. I just don't think that that's the right move business-wise.
Now, like you could do that if you got 7 years of high-quality DC movies with I still mainstream characters that made money. Then you could try something like that.
I still have my list that I'm considering making into like a Twitter thread or something, but. Iron Man, Gamora spin-off show, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Zemo spin-off movie, Beta Ray Bill movie, Nick Fury solo movie, Rachel Summers solo movie, Daredevil movie, The Thing movie, Captain America 2, unrelated, not related to this universe. Captain America, this one is related. Wong 2, sequel to a movie from 20 years ago. And then a bunch of shows, half of which are related and half are not. Yeah. That is all. Business-wise, terrible slate. I don't doubt that these could be, I'm sure there's a fantastic Beta Ray Bill movie that is in a multiverse somewhere. In a multiverse somewhere, that's the biggest MCU movie ever. But no, nope, no.
In this timeline, you don't make that movie.
That should not be one of your pillars.
I don't think he should have final say.
Yeah.
Like, I know he reports to Zaslav technically, but I think Zaslav is just like, you read comics and you know what's up.
Yeah, he's letting him... Yeah, and again, James Gunn, great director.
Yeah.
His movie, I have yet to see a James Gunn movie I didn't like. Now, I haven't seen a whole lot of his stuff outside of Guardians of the Galaxy.
2 movies he made before.
But I'm sure they're probably fine.
Weird and gross.
I don't trust him to... I don't think he has the... this might be mean to say, but I don't think he has the maturity to launch a universe. I think he is very obsessed with like playing with the toys that he likes, but the problem is he likes the toys no one else likes, and there is a charm to that.
Yeah.
And that definitely has its place. But if you're trying to build a universe around a very recognizable brand with very specific expectations, that is not the right person to tap for.
I think maybe he would do a better job of running like a label that does like the weird movies.
Yeah, I could
maybe not doing all of them.
If he,
I don't know. What if his Superman movie might be amazing? Like he might be really good at doing the mainstream heroes too. So we don't know.
And again, I have 100% faith that his Superman movie will be great. Again, because I think he's a great director.
Yeah.
And I think he totally could handle them. I think he chose the wrong characters to go after. And I don't even think these movies will be bad. I think he's just picking the wrong guys, and that's not a good business.
And he is in a weird spot because of what's happened with that franchise.
Yeah, and I think DC is also not going to let him play with a lot of the big characters, which is also a problem.
The other thing is, like, he does read comics. He's made good of these movies. Like, he's made good movies before. And like, who else would you have doing it? And like, that's my thing is like, and we'll get to that when we talk about Kathleen Kennedy in a minute. But like, who would you put in his place? Like, you can't really think of anyone who would actually like be a genuine option.
That is true, but that's more because the type of people that I would tap to do that job are not the kind of people that I think we would be aware of. That would be some kind of...
Oh, no, I'm sure there's some like intern at Warner Brothers Discovery who's like potentially the greatest executive who ever lived.
Yeah, no,
who has the perfect DC plan who we could find. Like if we. But like,
I think like big name corporate executive guys. Who could do that,
or even creators.
I don't think they're people that we would know. Like, it would be like a guy who produced some movie at some point,
or even like creatives. I'm like directors and writers who would be willing to take on that role of shepherding like strictly the creative outlet. Like I don't know anyone else who I would think I would have more faith in to do that than him.
Yeah.
And that's not like necessarily like a statement of like, I have complete confidence in this. It's more of like if I'm looking at my options and it's James Gunn and then like Drew Goddard, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go with Gunn. Like,
yeah,
it's a reasonable choice. I just have questions.
It's better than J.J.
I just have
Abrams.
questions about their slate. Just like the order in which stuff is coming out for the most part.
Yeah.
And what they're choosing to elevate. But honestly, that's not a bad transition because we are going to talk about Warner Brothers.
Let's talk about Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers Games shut down 3 studios this last week. They shut down Monolith, Warner Brothers San Diego, and Player First Games.
You know what?
Monolith made Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War.
I have a transition for this.
Oh, really?
I think David Zaslav is now our nemesis.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Sam, he's not allowed to be our nemesis until
Because
2036.
they copyrighted that.
So, yeah. So Monolith, they made the Middle-earth games, which were critically acclaimed, and invented this unique combat enemy system called the Nemesis system, where if you got killed by an enemy in the game, you would like remember who you are, and you would have like a specific relationship tied to them.
The dynamic between you and the villain would change because the villain would remember you throughout the course of the game.
Depending on how you played the game. And it was super unique and people really liked it. And WB Games trademarked that.
No one else can do that.
Until 2036, so no one else can use that.
Which is why when you're Master Chief and you fight the same guy 3 times in a row, he never
the dialogue
acknowledges that. Yeah.
They were going to put it in Monolith's next game, which was a Wonder Woman game, which was announced like 4 years ago now. And we talked about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
The turmoil with that game. It's restarted development. They spent over $100 million on it. They couldn't crack it. It wasn't coming along well.
And I can definitely see why that game would be challenging to make.
Do you think? But also, like, it doesn't. Like, I feel like you could figure it out.
There are definitely ways you could make.
If Gotham Knights can get made,
I think you
could make a Wonder Woman video game.
I think Wonder Woman should be like almost a Souls-like.
Well, I think the plan would have been to have it be like Shadow of War, where it's like a third-person action game.
Yeah, no, actually,
swords
it should be
and sandals.
A third-person woman hit guy with sword game.
Yeah, the number one genre in gaming right now.
But like, do it. I want to say like almost like Stellar Blade, like where it's like a Diet Souls-like, where you just kill the guys.
I would have played a Wonder Woman game. That sounds cool.
Probably.
And the pitch was cool. And I know Gail Simone, who's written a lot of great Wonder Woman comics, was a consultant on it, and she was tweeting how it was really cool. They developed a really cool world. It was coming along really nicely. I mean, you can't really blame WB Games. The company broadly is in the toilet right now.
Honestly, superhero games have kind of
video games. I mean,
spot.
The gaming industry is in a really bad, not a great spot.
Okay, that's
Suicide
true.
Squad tanked. Multiverse is tanked.
But
this game has been in 4 years and there's nothing to show for it.
Like, IP tie-in games have never been better.
Well, Sam, they did say
we got Indiana Jones. That did pretty good.
Sam, they did say the reason they're doing this is a strategic change in direction in order to structure our development studios and investments around building the best games possible with our key franchises, Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, DC, and Game of Thrones. We had to cancel the DC game, but whatever.
And also, they have been trying to make a Game of Thrones game forever.
Telltale made some.
And the closest we ever got was a series of mobile games.
Game. Yeah, there's always a mobile game.
Not even real games, not games. Now, Skyrim was actually supposed to be a Game of Thrones game.
But that was in the 90s.
But that was so long ago, and it's very much not a Game of Thrones game.
That would be so cool.
It would be cool if they did
Skyrim, but it's just Game of Thrones world.
That would be sick. But unfortunately,
never
that's never going to happen because...
No, and they'd have to spend way more than they've ever spent before to make that game.
It is possible.
I'm sure Bethesda's spending upwards of $800 million on Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, I mean
it's probably going to cost over $1 billion.
People always joke we got whatever before GTA 6. We got GTA 6 before Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. No, and
they came out the same year.
And GTA 6 is going to be the most expensive game of all time. And it already is, I think. And it's going to probably cost $100 at launch.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They're probably going to charge them. And people are going to buy it, and it's going to have the best first weekend of any video game that's ever been made.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, like this is upsetting. People lost their jobs.
And we lost.
They were working on cool
part
stuff.
of game. Like we can now never use that. Nemesis
Whatever they
system
still can. It's just like I don't know what.
Well, they shut down their video games, so I doubt they will.
So the only ones operating now, I think, are WB Montreal and Rocksteady. I think those are the only ones left.
The Netherworld.
Oh, Netherworld, who does Mortal Kombat, but they're never going to be allowed to do anything other than that. So
yeah, they are locked into Mortal Kombat forever.
So I think WB Montreal is supposed to be doing a Game of
wait,
Thrones
they make
thing,
they make the Injustice games too. because those are
they
just Mortal
do.
Kombat with DC.
I
characters.
think another studio, a third party, helps them on it. But yeah,
I think for the mobile ports, yeah.
they haven't made one of those in a while.
Yeah, let's do that.
Surprised there hasn't been a third
you do
Injustice
that?
game.
I mean, the story is over.
No,
but
but the story is awful and no one plays it.
No, who cares?
People just want to play a game for Batman and they punch.
Yeah,
Superman.
and who cares? It's fine. Who cares?
I think they should do a third one. They're not working on that. There's rumors of that they were doing a Marvel game, weren't they? I think that was probably real. It probably got canceled.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were doing
Remember
that
that being a thing
point,
like 2 years ago.
but I don't think that's gonna be a
that
thing.
they were working
now.
on a Marvel.
I feel like Marvel would want to do that in house.
Probably.
Or you know what?
Disney probably was like, no games. We hate video games still.
No, they would have Epic Games do it.
Now they would.
Yeah, because they have that bit. And actually, we got some news about their Fortnite Disney universe, whatever it is they're building. Supposedly,
digital theme park.
It will tie into the actual parks. So if you go to the parks and you do certain things in the parks, it will affect the game.
That's not surprising. I mean, Disney's number one business
is the parks. That everything ties back into the parks.
Generator.
Yeah.
If you ever look, it's kind of interesting to tell, like, because people don't know that. People think like, oh, they do movies.
The movies make the money.
There's parks. It's like, no, it's like the movies generate like on a good year like $8-9 billion, and then like the parks do like 20 billion a year consistently. Like the movies exist to create material to be put in the theme parks. Like that's what they're for. Anyway,
I'll put the battery on my phone.
Okay, cool. I need to take a break anyway. So we'll stop
and then we'll pause and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back.
Okay, Sam. So last episode we did 2 weeks ago, just as we were wrapping up the show,
big news.
A news story broke that Kathleen from Puck News from Matthew Bellany broke that Kathleen Kennedy had told close friends and family she was stepping down from Lucasfilm. That was on February 24th. 3 days later, on February 27th, Kathleen Kennedy did a sit-down interview with Deadline reporter Matthew Fleming to clarify what was going on. And in that interview, she said she had no plans to leave the company right now and no plans to do that in the near future. She said, quote, even when she does, she will die making movies and will never retire completely from the business. So she seems like she's locked in. I believe she is 72.
I do believe she is stepping down from her role, though.
Yeah, so we'll get to that. So she's currently 71. She's been doing Lucasfilm since 2012, I believe. So like 15 or 14 years. She took over, I think it was 14. She took over the company a year before it was sold to Disney. George Lucas appointed her in charge because he...
Yeah, and actually her being a part of the deal was conditional to them buying Star Wars.
So a lot of that is, I think, a common misconception is she was never hired by Disney.
Yeah, no.
She was handpicked by George to take over before he sold the company.
People often blame Disney for her being involved in Star Wars. She is the ghost of George Lucas.
Yeah,
like she is.
She was the person that he picked to be in charge.
Yeah.
Because I think he was mostly just tired of people yelling at him for the prequels and there. Okay, here's the thing about Kathleen Kennedy. Before we get to kind of what's happening with her in the future, she has for over a decade now received constant crap from various corners of the internet.
I think basically
broadly,
the most crap.
The most crap out of every executive.
We've even crapped on her a little.
Honestly, okay, yeah. And a lot of that criticism
is warranted.
Very valid. I think the movies have too many women, I think is dumb, and that criticism is a waste of everyone's time and unconstructive.
And not really relevant.
I think the main thing that you can criticize her for rightly, and I think is directly applicable to her, because the other thing is and a lot of the articles that you'll read regarding this whole situation is that a lot of people blame her for the creative decisions made in Star Wars. She does not make creative decisions.
She's not involved. She has not been involved creatively in Star Wars.
Ever, really.
Ever. She's always been in the room, but she's never been...
Her creative input is, if they're like, we want to put Darth Vader in this thing, she has to stamp it and say, okay. Like, she's not in a room pitching creatives or anything like that, right?
And I'm sure she has some influence.
No, she's
around these people.
But that is not her main job.
Yeah.
Her main job is sitting in licensing meetings with Hasbro and being like, okay, so we're going to get 15.8% share
her job
of action figure sales.
That the lightsabers are in the Walmart.
Yeah, like that is most of her job. It's that.
Now,
it's running Celebration.
The lightsaber toys that they have right now freaking suck, and I blame her for that. They're so bad.
But it's meeting with Bob Iger about revenue streams and like output.
Her job is to make sure Star Wars makes money.
She's a suit. She's an executive. Her job is to handle money and production and timelines and licensing, primarily. Which is why I think the most valid and reasonable criticism to give her is the fact that a lot of the Star Wars production has been horribly mismanaged.
Yes.
For a decade.
100%.
They came out when Disney bought Star Wars in 2014. They announced they were going to do 3 sequels and a bunch of anthology movies. They ended up cranking out 2 anthology movies, both of which had to fire their director after production was completed and hire someone new to come in and reshoot.
Neither of which performed particularly well.
Rogue One made $1 billion, and then Solo lost a crap ton of money, and that movie went way over budget.
And even with Rogue One, it made $1 billion, but for Star Wars, that's the bare minimum.
Yeah, and then the sequels had a massive box office decline. There was massive trouble with the production of Episode 9, because they hired Colin Trevorrow, and then they had to fire Colin Trevorrow and bring back J.J. Abrams, and they had to rewrite the whole script.
And they were in a weird place after Episode 8, which also was not very well received.
They rushed the production of all 3 of those movies. They made them all come out 2 years after each other, which is super fast for Hollywood. That's fast-tracking a sequel.
And if you do that, you need to have a very concrete plan.
They had no plan in place.
And they had no plan.
When they started shooting them. And obviously,
they had concepts of a plan.
And her job was not to write the plan. Her job was to make sure that there was a plan, and she did not do that.
No. She was like, JJ, you have a plan, right? He was like, I have concepts
those
of a
movies
plan.
All cost.
I'm not creative director right now. And he did not have a plan.
Those movies all had demonstrably large budgets that blew way out of control. Force Awakens and Last Jedi both cost like $500 million to make. Ridiculous overspending on those. And then obviously they've had just project after project and director just collapse in the public eye. And announcing stuff and never making it and firing people and replacing people.
On top of that, Disney Plus came out during this, we'll call it a tumultuous period for Star Wars.
Yes.
And a lot of what were supposed to be spin-off movies were shifted into streaming TV shows, ballooning the concept far beyond the scope of what it was meant to be and kind of crippling the potential for that to do well.
Yeah.
With the exception of like The Mandalorian.
And honestly,
which has also been horribly mismanaged.
To give her...
Because The Mandalorian should have run for 9 seasons and been a very simple show about cowboy man and little guy who go around, explore weird places, and do fun adventures. And instead, they were like, no, we have to make it part of everything else, because everything in Star Wars is actually one thing.
Honestly, I would say at the end of the day, Kathleen Kennedy had like at best 50-50 hit rate. At worst, like 60-40. Because if you think about her wins, right?
Clone Wars.
She took over Star Wars, honestly, at a even weirder time than what it's had recently.
Yeah.
Because in 2014, the prequels were done. The audience hated them.
Yes.
Everyone was pissed off. There was nowhere really clear to go with the franchise. There was little bits of comics.
They were
and
doing
games,
video games, and they were doing some
there were no
little
plans
things
to go back to movies or to do. There were live action show plans.
George Lucas had always been kicking
realistic.
ideas around, but they were never.
Yeah,
they were never far along enough to actually go anywhere.
It was in a weird spot.
Now, actually, they did have at least one actually sort of started project.
Yeah, I know what you're
that we just learned about.
Underworld.
Yeah, Underworld, where they had like 60-something scripts completed.
Rick McCallum, who was basically George Lucas's right-hand man for Lucasfilm throughout the 90s and early 2000s, did an interview recently where he talked about Underworld, which is test footage from that is leaked. We've known about that show forever.
And actually, as far as I'm aware, Clone Wars was more or less a like beta version of that.
Yeah,
where they were testing to see how a Star Wars series could do, and they were using CGI animation as a cost-saving measure because the live-action thing that they wanted to do was too expensive.
Yeah, Underworld...
And it ended up being popular enough that they just kept doing it.
Underworld was supposed to be a live-action series that was an anthology show of various stories about random characters throughout the galaxy, mostly set between episodes 3 and 4.
Yeah.
They were going to try to make it in like 2011. Obviously, technology with the volume and stuff, like none of that
didn't exist.
So they were just going to try to like...
It would have been impossible to make the show in a way that made any financial sense.
The rough budget that Rick McCallum threw out was $40 million an episode, which
That's about half a series streaming
8
budget.
times the most expensive show on network TV at that time, which is how they would have made it. Like they were going to do it through ABC, and
Like
ABC
for
would have
context,
had to pay $40 million.
Game of Thrones, which was the absolute max,
which was on HBO,
possibly
which was on
push a show's
cable.
budget,
Yeah,
was about 10 million, 8 to 10 million an episode.
yeah, and Star Wars would have been 4 times that.
Yeah.
On network TV, so it would have been
on cable, basically, like regular TV.
Yeah. So that was obviously never going to happen, but they wrote over like 60 scripts, and apparently they were amazing.
I think some of them were adapted into Clone Wars stuff.
Well, some stuff of that, it's made its way around, whether it's books or comics.
Yeah.
One of the Underworld story arcs ended up being Rogue One. Solo and originally came from, it was going to be a series of Underworld episodes.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's kind of made its way back around. I would love to see that show or a version of
like
that
a pilot or
show come
something.
back around.
I think in the modern, honestly, I think we're kind of seeing that.
Honestly,
now it's been chopped up into different places.
Yeah.
Like Andor is that.
Yeah, but if I was Dave Filoni, who's creative director of Star Wars or whatever, but I would love to I would just bring those scripts and be like, some year.
Hey, let's do.
Or like
some
an
stuff
animated
with
show
this.
we could do with this, something like that. But anyway, that's not important.
Because I mean, Star Wars, Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire. Yeah, like that's the kind of stuff that I envision that.
Because I know one of the scripts that was apparently like the best one was Palpatine's origin.
Yeah, and supposedly it like made everyone who ever read it cry or something crazy.
That screams like Tales of the Sith story arc.
Yeah,
to me, like that feels like the main one you would do.
Now I think nowadays that's almost too sacred. You almost can't do an origin story for
there
Palpatine.
Is no sacred. Everything is available to mine for intellectual property.
Yeah, but like I feel like they would have just done it by now if they were going to do it.
They'll do it eventually. He's a character that people know. Like we gotta. People know we're gonna do it.
It's possible.
But anyway, back to Kathleen Kennedy. So she inherited Star Wars. It was bought by Disney. She did make 3 movies, the 3 main movies. The first of which was positively received,
and I still stand by it's pretty good.
And all of them made over $1 billion. The first 2 made $2 billion.
Yeah,
which is like, you'd say it's just Star Wars. It was just the time it came out. That is big. I mean,
that's a big movie.
The Force Awakens was the most successful domestic box of all time.
Yeah,
it was the top domestic box office grosser of all time.
And I don't know that it's necessarily even replicable.
It still is. I mean, nearly $1 billion just in the United States and Canada. That was a huge success. Last Jedi, also giant hit. Rise of Skywalker, big decline.
Everyone saw it though.
Still made over $1 billion. Rogue One made $1 billion. Solo, bombed. But I mean, you also, I mean, like she launched several very successful animated series.
The Disney Park
was a massive hit. Mandalorian and the conversion to live action TV stuff. She obviously had a giant hand in that. And
even though none of those series have been absolute bangers, none of them have been terrible.
Except for maybe Boba Fett.
Boba Fett was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But it still had some good episodes.
But that, and then the licensing palooza that Star Wars went under, the giant resurgence of merchandise, she had a big hand in that too. And that is largely
lightsabers are still freaking terrible.
No, but
why is Yoda's head part of the lightsaber?
That and Star Wars video games, and those have been relatively good recently.
Star Wars
the Black Series action figures, the clothes, that. Which that sounds like stupid, but that's the main part of the brand. And that stuff being available and the way it was and its resurgence, that she has a big part in that.
People forget, but we more or less grew up during the Dark Ages for Star Wars. It was not everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It was very important to us, but it wasn't because it was all over the place. It was because our dad really liked it and he showed it to us. So we really liked it.
Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005, and the prequels were genuinely they were despised.
Yeah.
I think people forget about it because it's been so long and because there's been this resurgence of love for them.
Jar Jar actor tried to kill himself.
People were awful to everyone involved with those. The conversation online was completely vitriolic, and in real life.
There's a reason why Hayden Christensen broke down in tears when he heard fans saying that they liked him.
Yeah, I mean, there were entire documentaries just crapping on George Lucas as a guy for making those movies. 8-hour breakdowns on why they suck.
And now,
guys,
great movies. Not really, but they're not that bad.
Adult men writing songs about how George Lucas raped their childhood. Like it was,
relax.
It was ridiculous. So like, to inherit that atmosphere and turn it into anything positive, which it was for at least 2 or 3 years.
Clone Wars definitely helped. At least, again, when we were growing up, that was the only new Star Wars media coming out.
But even that was just a cartoon show on Cartoon
Yeah.
Network. Like, to bring it back and the way it was brought back.
But yeah, the way it's back now, where we're getting big movies, there's big shows, there's big merchandise. It's everywhere. It's the meme from Spaceballs. Spaceballs the placemat. Spaceballs the cup. Spaceballs the DVD. It's all back.
Yeah.
That was not a thing.
And
period,
also, just
for like 20 years.
Culturally, I mean, there's been a lot of revisionist history in the Star Wars' woke garbage community about the fact that like they all hate The Force Awakens and Rogue One. That was not there when those movies came out. People writ large really liked those movies and saw them many times.
And they were Force Awakens is good.
Fine.
I think it's better than the prequels.
At least 1 and 2, yeah.
It's better. The story is not as strong, but writing wise, it's so much better. I can listen to it and not feel like I'm stupid.
A super watchable, well-made movie.
Yeah.
When
I listen to episode 3, I feel like I'm stupid because the characters all sound like they've been lobotomized. Episode 7, the story is not as strong. Like the story of episode 3 is a lot better.
Yeah.
But the writing is a lot. Like I feel like they're talking like humans talk.
But anyway, so she deserves credit for doing a fine job for the most part.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of stuff has been mismanaged. I think the complete inability for them to put together a movie
since
for
episode
5
9.
years after episode 9 was ridiculous. And frankly, a lot embarrassing, the amount of public firings they've had to do because they've hired directors who then made a bad movie and then they had to fire them before they got working on their Star Wars movie.
Rian Johnson is still making his trilogy.
Well, yeah, so that's the thing. So part of this was that in this sit-down interview, she gave updates kind of where she's at and where they're going.
Yeah.
So she says that she is working with Bob Iger and Alan Bergman, who run Disney, to find a successor and then to start like grooming them and getting them ready to take over at some point. She said,
"Hello,
that announcement can be made.
You could
within
hire
a year.
us. We're here. We'll do it better.
We can talk about who that might be in a minute." She says she has full intention to at least produce the next 2 theatrical Star Wars movies, which is Mandalorian and Grogu, which is in post. That's going to come out.
That'll be out soon.
And then she says the next one up after that is going to be the Sean Levy one with Ryan Gosling that's been in the works for over a year.
Man, if they do like a Blade Runner type thing, but with Star Wars and it's just Blade Runner, but it's just
not going to happen. Never going to happen in a million years. And then he also clarified that there are 3 to 4 projects currently in the works that she feels are confident will see the light of day soon.
Oh, good. That's good.
Also, according to her, Simon Kinberg is fast moving on the new trilogy that he just got hired to write. James Mangold is back working on Dawn of the Jedi. He wasn't doing that because he was doing Complete Unknown. And then she brought up, she was not asked about it. She brought up Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie.
I think that'll happen.
Which apparently she's super high on.
Yeah.
She loves him. There's a new writer working on it with him.
Good.
And apparently that script is still coming.
That he needs someone to be in the room while he's cooking.
He needs to make another good movie before I would allow him to do a Star Wars.
I think he's going to do a Star Wars.
First,
that's going to be his next
movie. I think you're right. I'd have less faith in him.
Okay. Thor Love and Thunder.
He has an Academy Award for screenwriting. I don't have one of those.
Big stinker, Thor Love and Thunder.
Big stinker, Thor Love and Thunder. Big stinker, Next Goal Wins, which is the movie he made after that.
Thor Ragnarok. Pretty good.
Didn't write that one.
Jojo Rabbit. Good.
Controversial, but pretty good.
And he's got another guy this time. There's a guy who's
another
making
person.
sure that he's not being too crazy.
Now
with
another
it.
person also worked on the Thunder script.
And I'm going to assume that he's probably not, that Taika Waititi's not going to write that much because he doesn't write that much.
No, he is.
Generally.
He's writing the whole script.
Well, I know, but when he writes a whole script, he actually writes an idea for a script and then does not write anything else.
See, Exhibit A.
Exactly. So if there's another guy, hopefully that guy can actually write the script.
Yeah. But that is the outlook. I do think part of the reason I think she hasn't stepped down is just because there is no one to replace her. Like everyone always, like everyone always kicks around Dave Filoni.
He's not that guy.
Filoni is a creative guy. He's not a business dude. And like we said before, this job is mostly sitting in rooms talking about contracts and production timelines. Like,
yeah, Dave Filoni is a guy you want coming up with ideas for Star Wars.
You want him being the guy who you'd be like, does this work canonically? And he
does
goes,
the Force
yes or no.
do this?
Yeah.
And then he can say yes or no.
You don't even really strictly want him writing scripts because he's not particularly great at it. But
he knows the lore good.
But at least he knows the lore good. Like
you don't want to go, hey Dave, can we have this contract approved by next Sunday? Yeah. He's not that guy.
Regardless of what you think of Dave Filoni's stuff, I think he is 100% a good dude to have in the room at Star Wars.
Yes.
To make sure everything is lining up creatively.
He is there more or less to do our job, which is know the Star Wars things.
Sit in an armchair and criticize people who get paid millions of dollars. But yeah, that is where you want him. Other people floating around, Jon Favreau, another creative guy. I don't think he wants to do it. I think he's already tired of doing Star Wars. He's been doing it for like 8 years straight now.
And he's already kind of
you could tell the last like 2 celebrations he's already pretty burnt out.
What was the last Star Wars thing he did?
Season 3 of Mando, and then he's directing the movie.
Okay.
And he co-wrote it with Dave, and then
because Mandalorian was kind of his baby, but he's not really involved with Star Wars that much outside of
I think he's supposed to produce that Dave Filoni's Heir to the Empire movie,
which I assume is heavily tied into the Mandalorian stuff.
But I think after that, he's done. I don't think he wants to do any more Star Wars.
I think he's good.
He's been doing it forever. I would love him to go make another regular movie.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Chef was really good.
Chef is amazing. Chef is great.
Now, it hasn't aged super well because Twitter's gone, but...
That's fine.
And Twitter is I rewatched that movie not that long ago. It's weirdly like a massive part of the plot.
And Vine is in it too.
Yeah, but it's a great movie. Everyone should.
Chef is great. I mean, the first Iron Man's great. He had trouble with Iron Man 2, which is what Chef is about.
Yeah, I would love for him to do another Marvel. His Jungle Book is
pretty good. I would be fine with him coming back to Marvel if he goes and does just he's been doing nothing but IP work for like mostly 20 years.
I think that's what he's good at though.
But he
did Chef.
He's
Chef
good
really
at making other movies too. I mean, he made Elf. He made Round.
Oh, that's true. Forgot about Elf.
Not Rounders. He made some other movie. I forget what it's called. Made. It's called Made. Where he plays like a boxer.
Elf 2.
Chef. I mean, like he's made good movies outside of.
Can you do an Elf 2?
They will never make an Elf 2. They have tried many times.
I think they will.
No. Will Ferrell keeps shooting it down, and they can't make it without him. So.
I think they will.
When
Will Ferrell's desperate enough.
I don't think he's going to get any more desperate than he is now.
But he'll be Papa Elf.
It would be fun to do an episode.
You can already see
it would be
the
fun
vision.
to be an episode where we pitch sequels to movies that absolutely
should never get sequels.
Because
the actor for Papa Elf's dead. So
yeah, Bob Newhart died.
So the story will be he dies in the movie, and they need.
Buddy has to do what?
Buddy becomes the new Papa Elf.
No,
and he has to train.
Ed Asner, who plays Santa, died too.
He has to train the new generation.
Jimmy Caan died. Half the cast of that movie's dead.
You can replace those.
It's all the other characters.
But you can, and he has to train the next generation.
Is it just him and Zooey Deschanel?
Yeah, and they have to train the new elves.
That's the worst idea ever.
But it will happen.
Is it called Elves?
Yeah, elves.
No. Elves.
Sure, elves then.
Anyway, bad, terrible idea.
Just like aliens.
Anyway, I'd love to see him go make a normal other movie.
Yeah.
And then he can go do
a Marvel.
Do another Marvel. I mean, he made The Lion King and Jungle Book, and those were... Lion King's awful.
But Jungle Book's pretty good.
Jungle Book was not bad. And then the other names people are floating around, Kevin Feige.
No.
He's doing Marvel.
Doing too much.
I know he loves Star Wars. That was like his thing growing up more than Marvel was.
But he's locked in.
But I don't think they're going to let him... He can't do both, and they're not going to let him move. Just because it doesn't make any sense. Marvel is way more important.
He's the foundation of Marvel, and they are not going to shake that.
Yeah, no. And that brand is more important at this point to them.
It makes so much
Star
more money.
Wars,
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, the person who's going to take this over is going to be some suit.
Yeah.
It's not going to be
some
a guy,
random...
It's not going to be a guy we've ever heard of. I'm just letting everyone know that now.
I think it probably will be a guy we haven't heard of.
Maybe like
it'll be some random.
It'll be a guy who's like
some suit. I don't know.
We'll read some title and we'll be like, okay, I get what he does, but we won't be like, oh.
You'll see his name. It'll be like he produced like 5 random movies, and you'll be like, okay, sure.
Yeah. And then we'll just have to see what he ends up doing with it. I say he, it's will end up being a woman.
Here's what I think is going to happen. I'm going to tell you now, this is what's going to happen. They're going to replace Kathleen Kennedy with some random person.
Yep.
And then they'll make a thing, and everyone will be like, "This is the best Star Wars thing ever!"
Oh yeah, you're.
Oh my God, she's good, and it'll be exactly the same as everything else they've made.
Almost indistinguishable from anything they've made for the past decade. But everyone will be
like, "Oh my God, this is the best!" And it'll be like something that was just released under this new person that Kathleen Kennedy functionally made.
The new guy will have no input.
No input at all, and they'll be like, "This is the best Star Wars property since Star Wars Episode 5. Oh my God."
Yeah,
that's exactly.
And then they'll make like 2 more things, and then they'll go back to crapping on.
Yeah,
because that's way more profitable.
Exactly. Yeah. The action figure wall guys need to complain.
People don't understand that they don't make money unless they're complaining.
I'm trying to think.
I know this.
Okay, here's a better question. This is a more interesting question. Who is the new scapegoat?
Oh, when she's gone?
Is it just the replacement?
It's the replacement.
Or
it depends, actually.
Do we move on to someone else?
Well, here's
some other franchise.
And I say this genuinely, it depends on whether or not the new person is a straight white man.
Okay, if it is,
then we'll find someone else to blame.
No. If it is, does the scapegoat become him or Kevin Feige? Because it's got to be one of the two. It's like Godzilla and Ghidorah. It's like Godzilla and King Kong. It's got to be one of them.
They will, in all seriousness, they will blame Disney. They will blame like Bob Iger, like the broad Disney.
They don't know Bob. Only we know about
people
Bob.
know Bob. Everyone knows Bob.
They don't even know which Bob it is.
That's true, because they switched Bobs twice.
They switched Bobs way too many times.
But like they will blame the Disney Corporation, like writ large. I think they'll stop blaming a specific person.
No, I think you have to have.
Because the thing about Kathleen Kennedy is she's easy to blame.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she's like out there and she's.
But you need that name that you can say.
Yeah.
And there's not really anyone else.
They would. I mean, I think they probably just start blaming Dave Filoni.
I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of.
He's already getting some.
They already got mad at him for Ahsoka for making a show with too many women in it.
He's already getting some doo doo on his hat.
Yeah, his cowboy hat.
His cowboy hat's getting some mud on it.
Yeah, time to buy. We're
going. And when the truth is, his bar of quality has
never
changed.
Been all that high.
It's been just good enough.
Yeah,
and that's usually good. That's usually good enough.
So they need to pair him up with like a really good,
like Jon Favreau
screenwriter.
Like when they paired him up with Jon Favreau.
Honestly, been like pretty good so far. I mean, the stuff that struggled with them is the stuff that like Dave's done on his own.
Yeah.
Like Ahsoka was mid and that was all him.
And again, Ahsoka, and then like conceptually Ahsoka was all good.
I think
it's just the writing wasn't.
And then the problem with Mando was that the 3rd season, like he got too involved.
Yeah.
I think he just needs to be
as soon as they
held back.
They should have never let Grogu leave if they wanted to keep the show going.
Which I don't think that was Jon Favreau's decision.
And they should have had Grogu leave when the show ended and not had him come back.
Yeah, I think that was
a terrible.
I think that
was a very bad decision.
Disney corporate going.
That was where Mandalorian broke.
Yeah, I think that was Disney corporate going. You cannot make this show unless there's marketable Baby Yoda in it.
And again, story-wise, that is the right thing to do. The right thing to do, story-wise, is have Luke Skywalker show up in the last episode and take Grogu and train him to be a Jedi.
I wish he was played by a real guy.
They should not have done that in season 2. They should have done that at the end of season 9. And the show should have run forever.
I don't think it should have run forever, but
no, but they had the perfect formula for it to do that. They could have had him move. Every episode should have been he goes to a funky planet. There's a funky problem. He solves the funky problem with his old-fashioned gunslinger ways, and he goes off into space to the next planet.
Yep.
And they did that for one season, and then they were like, okay, we're done.
It became, how many spin-off shows can we set up in 8 episodes?
And again,
the answer, 4.
You could have done that, but do that in like season 8, season 7, later
when it's on the decline.
Yeah,
that's how TV shows used to work. Is like you would do 8 seasons of the show on network TV,
and then the last season was a soft.
You did 6 episodes where the quality and viewership would slowly decline, And then season 7, in a desperate attempt to like continue the momentum, he would just like do like 8 different like soft like what are they called? Backdoor pilots.
Yeah.
You do like 8 backdoor pilots for spin-off shows for random characters, and then like maybe one of them would work. You make that for like a year, and then it would all end.
Yeah.
Like Joey.
Yeah, like the Joey
I remember
show.
Joey from Friends. He got a spin-off show for 2 seasons.
Or the Senior Chang show from Community.
Mork and Mindy had a spin-off show. That was a spin-off show. Some of them hit. Some of them didn't.
I still believe in the Senior Chang spin-off show.
It's never going to happen. That movie is
Maybe
apparently
gonna
trapped in hell. It's just never going to get made.
All the guys are in.
They're all in it. Apparently, it's Joel McHale's fault. Apparently, he's too busy.
He'll get on it.
He's filming that Fox sitcom he does.
Which one?
Animal Control?
I've heard that one exists.
I've heard it exists too. It needs to get canceled so they can shoot this direct to Peacock movie.
Okay. Anyway, is that it?
Yeah, for Star Wars stuff. Minor Disney Plus news. John Bernthal is co-writing a Punisher special presentation for Disney Plus with Ronaldo Marcus Green, who's going to direct. He did King Richard and Bob Marley One Love. That's going to come out in 2026. So this will be the 3rd special presentation after Werewolf by Night and the Guardians Holiday Special. Those were both 3 years ago now.
And pretty good.
This is a fun format.
You know what I want? And this is completely unrelated and impossible.
Yep.
Never going to get made. I want John Wick versus the Punisher.
Okay, that's never going to happen.
But that would be so cool, though.
I feel like I don't think that'd be very fair.
How? They're the same guy.
Like, I feel like John Wick would try to do like some gun fu on him, and then the Punisher would just have a minigun and just mow him down with bullets.
But no one has a higher chance of having gun fu work against him than John Wick.
What do you mean by that?
Like, yeah, so the Punisher has a minigun, but John Wick will just like block the bullets with a katana.
This is an interesting premise.
I think this would be such a cool
That could be a
movie.
fun comic book.
Yeah, like that'd be a fun thing.
That's a Predator versus Batman idea.
Yeah, like it would be sick. Like it's not ever gonna exist.
It could. John
I could
Wick is
see a
owned by
YouTuber.
Lionsgate. They don't
I
have
could
any
see a
devotion.
YouTuber dumping their life savings into making this a thing.
Oh, that'd be a death battle back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. This would be, dude, man. Death Battle used to be sick. Maybe it'll come back now that Rooster Teeth is back. They have no other IPs. What else are they gonna make?
You'd go bankrupt again.
Well, obviously, but like they can do it in the meantime.
More of that cartoon Halo
Maybe we
show.
should bring it back.
No,
I can do the boomstick voice.
I'm not doing it.
You can be the other guy.
I don't want to.
Who's the? What's the other guy?
I don't want to invest so
Wiz?
much energy.
The Wiz?
I don't know.
Is his name Wiz?
Maybe.
You could be Scott the Woz.
Yeah, that's
Woz and boomstick.
That's a pitch I could get behind.
Death Battle comes back, hosted by Scott the Woz. He's like, I don't know, it wasn't on the Wii U. I don't care about
He's just
this.
like it's just a bunch of characters not from video games. He has no idea.
He's like, I've never heard of this
He's
guy.
like,
I have a friend who heard about it, and he said it's cool.
Who's Goku? Anyway, I will say I think it'd be fun. 45 minutes is like a little short. I think this would be like 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's hard to do a Punisher thing in 40
I think
minutes.
this is going to basically have to be a direct to Disney Plus movie.
Yeah, because he needs time to rage.
Yeah,
you can't have a
you gotta build
Punisher
up.
thing if you don't make him rage.
I haven't read really any Punisher at all, but I know there's a Punisher comic book where there's like a citywide blackout, and he has to like do crime during a blackout in New York. I think that sounds like a fun
He has
pitch.
to do Batman activities.
Yeah, I think if I were Disney, I would do this like Punisher 4th of July special.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
And it's like there's a blackout in New York City on the 4th of July, and he's got to like take down some criminals.
Does he kill everyone who sets off fireworks illegally?
Well, that's a good idea. No, but then you get like the blackout, and you get like the fireworks.
Yeah,
at
you
night,
have the
and you
fireworks
get Punisher
occasionally
walking around
lighting
with
the
a skull
scene
on his shirt. Yeah, that'd be fun.
that would. I have a vision.
Yeah,
There's a mugger, and he's beating up a lady, and you just see in the background a white skull and a sort of silhouette of a guy walking up, and the fireworks are just boom. You
And
see
it's
that
like
flash.
red, white, and blue.
Every flash, he's like a little bit closer until the last one, he just boom whops him.
I have no
can see the
interest in
vision.
ever making anything Punisher, so Disney, feel welcome to steal these ideas. I don't care.
I'm gonna make this John Wick versus Punisher.
I
thing, though.
will take payment in the form of a very nice email written by ChatGPT. Anyway, and then another thing, Walt Disney Animation is no longer going to produce any long form content for Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
They were working on 2 projects that have both been canned. One of them was the Tiana animated series. It was announced all the way back in 2020.
Yeah,
that's apparently had a lot of issues, and that's just being scrapped.
And that was probably expensive too, because it was 2D
and
animation.
apparently it was going to have like original music and stuff in it.
And I assume it was going to be relatively high, like not your average 2D animated Disney Junior TV show.
No, it was going to look like
the movie. Yeah.
And then apparently they were also working on a full length film for direct to Disney Plus. That's also been scrapped.
Oh, okay.
That's probably good. That's probably a bad idea.
Yeah, maybe stop doing that, please.
I am surprised they did not try to cut this Tiana movie into this show into a movie.
With Moana.
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised they didn't try to like turn it into a movie and put it out. But it's also 2D.
I think they probably will.
I don't think so.
Eventually.
I think the stuff from this will leak. It wasn't finished, so like it can't be put out. Really?
That probably makes it likely that it would do better.
But it's also 2D animation, which I think is why they didn't think to. I mean, you could have cut it into a Disney Plus movie, probably.
Maybe like a special.
Yeah. Theatrically, because Moana 2 that was 3D animated, and people won't see a 2D animated movie for some reason. So.
You guys are well.
And Princess and the Frog, not a giant IP for them, so.
Yeah.
Like probably it would not have done Moana.
Maybe just release it in Japan. They still see 2D animated movies.
It's true. They'll watch anything over there.
Miyazaki just put a picture of a super zoomed in bird, and everyone was like, "Yep, I'm in."
That movie's really good though.
That
movie's so pretty.
Yeah, it's
a
Miyazaki
gorgeous movie to look at. Story-wise,
it's a little hard to know what's going on if you don't have like deep background knowledge on Miyazaki's
No, you have no idea what's happening, but it looks really great, and Robert Pattinson's great in it.
And he goes, the whole time.
You do not recognize his voice. If you didn't
know, you wouldn't know unless you knew that it was him. Christopher Walken's also in it.
True.
For like 5 seconds.
And Willem Dafoe.
So many guys who were just in it for like
Florence
5 seconds.
Pugh, I think, is in it also.
Yeah, I think she was the girl.
Yeah. And I'm talking about the English dub. Anyway, okay, last story of the day before we do brief Daredevil talk. Avengers, Secret Wars, and Doomsday both had some concept art leak on Twitter.
Are you a leaked
the
on
other
purpose
day
truther?
Okay. Here's the thing.
I don't think this was leaked on purpose.
I think this was 100% leaked on purpose. And the reason behind that
don't think so.
is one, none of these images really give like a whole lot away. And two, it's all still up. Like, it's very easy to find. I just searched it up on Twitter. It was all there.
I've seen it taken down a lot.
It's not hard to find.
I bookmarked them like when they first came out.
They did a better job at getting that Powerpuff Girls trailer ripped off of the internet than they did these.
True.
I think these were definitely put out by Disney to build hype. Because people were down after Captain America. They have zero confidence in them or the Russo brothers, who have just apparently released an all-time stinker this week.
Why not just do like a TV spot and show these images publicly?
Because that would be too, like, how would you even set that up?
You have an interview with
You're not going to be like, I'm Kevin Feige, and here's random sets. Like,
no,
here's
what you do is you be like, the build up to Avengers or making Avengers, and you do a 20-minute little thing on Disney Plus where you have Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers sit down for 5 minutes, give some vague spiel about how this is the biggest thing they've ever made, and then have some like random stock footage of like superheroes on wires, like getting whipped around, and then you go like, and we're going to reveal some never before seen behind the scenes top secret art, and then you show them the picture of Dr. Doom sitting in the throne. You could totally do that.
Like, in theory you could,
and they used to do that all the time.
But this is way cheaper, and this is like organic. This is like an organic way to build hype, because this is the fans getting excited. We're not telling them to get excited.
But no one's even excited.
They're getting excited on their own.
They're just like, this happened.
And no, I know, because Disney does this kind of crap all the time. Remember when Tom Holland leaked the Avengers poster?
Yeah.
Or Mark Ruffalo accidentally live streamed some of Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Or some sick Star Wars fan with cancer was shown an early cut weeks in advance. A story they planted 3 separate times for 3 separate movies identically.
That keeps happening.
Disney does this kind of crap.
Is every Star Wars fan dying
all the
of cancer?
time. No, like they know that people have little faith in these movies, that they know that this is a last minute Hail Mary attempt to save this whole story arc. They know full well that if they put out these concept art images that mostly include characters we've already seen before, that
there were some that we had not.
It'll build some hype, it'll get people talking, and they can still make the movies without any like major plot reveals getting out.
Yeah.
Because, and we're going to spoil it, so if you don't want to know anything, don't watch this part and don't listen to this part of the podcast.
But the trailers are going to come out eventually.
But we got to talk about this stuff in detail, because we both saw it. So there's 6 images leaked.
Let me see if I can...
You can, I linked them to the Twitter post on the docket if you just scroll down. But one of them was Peter Quill on a couch with the white vision, just like watching TV. That's not really anything. One of them was Peter Quill and Wong with the Young Avengers, which was Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Wiccan, Speed, and Stature. So the main reveal there was that Speed will be on the team, who's not in the MCU yet.
Well...
He'll be in Vision Quest.
His body was drowning.
True.
And
he's alive. We just don't know where he is.
Agatha, yeah.
But those are both like Vision stuff related to the Vision TV show. So this kind of also confirms that Vision show was to come out before Doomsday.
Miss Marvel also only has one bangle.
She only has one bangle in the show.
No, she got the second one in the movie.
The Marvels. Mm-hmm. Maybe she lost it
because she bangs them together.
Again, this is also concept arc, so that could just be like, this is how we draw Miss Marvel, and then in the movie she'll have it, because this is not what this will look like in the movie. But the main thing with that is like confirms the Young Avengers.
It's weird that Peter Quill is on Earth and in Battle World.
Well, I think these are leaks from both Doomsday and Secret Wars, so I think those 2 images, the Peter Quill images, are from Doomsday.
Also, why is Peter Quill hanging out with Vision?
I don't know. It's a weird combo. Maybe he'll be in Vision Quest. He'll pop up. He's just on Earth.
Is that ever coming out?
He's not. So we know now that that's going to have to come out before Doomsday. So in like February 2026.
Yeah, like that's got to come out.
That's the only Disney Plus show that's entering production for Marvel this year. That's the only one they're working on, and it's Terry Matalas doing that.
Oh wait, this is different.
But that confirms Young Avengers. Wong is there. That's fine. Again, my theory is that Doomsday and Secret Wars are both going to have similar structure to Infinity War and Endgame.
They're going to be 2 parts of one movie.
So so Doomsday will be, we're going to break all of our 40 characters into like 6 different groups, and they're all going to have their own little journeys. And then at the end of Doomsday, we'll have the big incursion reset of the reality moment. Secret Wars set almost entirely on Battle World, and the movie reversing Battle World. We're all back to normal. So that is I think it'll be structured very similarly. And Secret Wars, you'll focus on a smaller core group of characters, the main guys, while in Doomsday, you'll be all over the place. So my guess is one of the Doomsday team-ups is going to be Star-Lord, Vision, Wong, and then the Young Avengers. And that'll be like one team.
That's too many guys on one.
No, because I feel like the Young Avengers are basically just going to function as like one character. They have basically all the same personality. So
but we have to backdoor pilot of it, Young Avengers.
I don't think we are doing that anymore. I think whatever plans there were, that's probably been thrown out.
They're definitely going to do Young Avengers at some point.
Well, in this, but I don't think we're going to do like a movie
or whatever for them.
I don't think these characters are popular enough. Miss Marvel was in 2 things, and they were both watched by like us and no one else.
Well, what if she's very popular in this movie?
Then maybe we'll try again, but I don't think so. Mm-hmm.
All right, so
then other than that,
what do we think the story is going to be?
Doomsday, I have no idea. My guess is Doomsday is going to be some really Frankenstein simplified speedrun version of Time Runs Out, which is the lead up, one of the parts of the lead up storyline to Secret Wars. Because again, Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars comic set up over the course of years.
Yeah, like
of comic
10
books
years
in several different runs in several different comics. Fantastic Four, Future Foundation, Avengers. Like it was set up.
It was for comics
like
what the Avengers movie was.
And it was written as the final Fantastic Four storyline. That was the main focus of Secret Wars.
And it basically has been.
They ended up bringing back, because the comic was being canceled when Secret Wars came out. So they canceled it in 2015. They've since brought it back because
they brought it back recently, but it has not been going great.
That was the idea behind Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So my guess is Doomsday is just going to be like Doctor Doom from Fantastic Four First Steps Dimensions here, and there's incursions happening for reason
because Galactus,
poopy butthole, doesn't matter,
because Galactus,
something like that, or Loki has been attacked at the time tree.
I think because Galactus.
I think it might be that off screen, Kang does something to set off, to basically just like start the multiverse collapsing, and then Doctor Doom kills him. Because the big thing with Secret Wars is that Doctor Doom for the lead up is trying to save the multiverse, like the heroes are, and he ends up making Battle World, which is like the world he rules because he made it.
Which we do see in this.
And that's all going to be in Secret Wars. So my guess is Doomsday is going to be like, Kang set off this multiversal incursion thing that's destroying the multiverse, and Doom is here, and he's trying to like congregate power in this collapsing multiverse, and he killed Kang, and we got to stop him. And the Avengers are all scattered, and they're in all these different sects, and they can't assemble in time, and they fail.
What if?
And then Secret Wars is like our 5 crucial characters.
What if Galactus is actually a Kang variant?
I don't think Galactus is going to play into this at all.
You think he's just Fantastic Four?
I think he is just Fantastic Four. I think that would be too much to do it.
But Galactus isn't really a character.
Exactly. That's why I don't think he'll be in.
No, but that's why I think it works perfectly for this.
Well, he's going to have...
Because you can have him just be the threat.
He is our main antagonist of First Steps.
Yeah, but
he's got a voice actor. Like,
in order for the Fantastic Four to... In order for it to make sense for the Fantastic Four to be in Avengers, which they will be, they have to lose in Fantastic Four.
Yeah, they will. I think they will.
And that means Galactus is going to be around.
No, I don't think necessarily. I don't know why he'd be around.
Because he's what they lose to.
But he would just be in that universe.
Until he starts eating other universes.
I mean, I think he could pop up at some point. I don't think he'll be a crucial part of the plot.
I think that they will functionally...
I think that would be...
I think they will just be replacing the Beyonders with Galactus. Look, I think that's a very easy substitute.
I think it could also be the TVA.
No, because the TVA is not...
Have they mentioned the Beyonders in anything?
No.
Yeah.
Not even in What If. And Galactus...
But also you need...
Because the Beyonders...
Okay, but here's the thing, though. But the Beyonders... So part of the comic is that the Beyonders... That's how Doom is able to create his new universes, by like harnessing their power.
Yes, because he does it because he's trying to stop them from destroying... And the only way he can do that is by consolidating a bunch of universes together into a massive
but he gets the power to do that from them, I believe.
But what if he kills Silver Surfer, gets the power from him, and then does all that?
That doesn't make the sense that Silver Surfer would have the power to.
Silver Surfer has whatever powers they make up that he has at whatever time.
I think that'd be dumb.
Okay, but we got to think about how much time we have to set this up.
That's the thing. But also, like, I feel like you got to keep in mind we got to keep this simple. Because in Kevin Feige's
That's why I think... Because way more people understand Galactus than they do Beyonders. And if we... Because whatever...
I don't think we're doing either. That's my thing.
Well, okay, whatever is happening, the framing is going to be the Avengers and the Fantastic Four are trying to stop Threat. Doctor Doom is also trying to stop Threat.
Yeah.
But in a more evil way.
Yeah.
And so the Avengers now have to stop Threat and Doctor Doom. I think Threat is Galactus. And he'll be causing incursions, or he'll be causing whatever. But he's not a real character.
Okay, hold on.
He has no real motivation. He's just Threat.
No, I don't think it's going to be Galactus. I think what it's going to be... I'm now thinking about it, because I'm also like... I just remember that...
Because it has to be something we've seen. Otherwise, it's not...
Well, no, it's not going to be, because it's going to be Doom. And we've never
seen
Doom
will be the final boss, but there's got to be Threat first.
He has to be in Fantastic Four. Like, he's got to be in that movie. Like, there's no way he's not in that movie.
I think he'll only be in the post-credits scene.
I think he will be mentioned.
I think he'll be mentioned, and I think he'll only actually show up in the post-credits scene.
We can tell by the concept art that this movie is playing off him and Reed Richards' dynamic.
Yeah,
as poorly set up
as far as we understand,
that's going to be. Like, that's going to play into this. So I just remember that we're also got to do Doctor Doom has the evil Avengers. Because we know Chris Evans coming back. That's definitely what we're doing now.
We can, but we will do that, but that'll be just like one fight. No. And they will be random variants.
So here's who's Doomsday. So Doomsday is Galactus 8, the Fantastic Four's Earth. So they jumped ship with Doctor Doom over to the main MCU time.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Kang
will only be in it to die.
Faceless and off screen, has set off some device or something that has started a series of incursions with the multiverse. And that could not be in it, because incursions could already be happening. Because we know they're a thing from Doctor Strange 2, because of that post-credit scene.
Yes.
Where Clea's like, an incursion's happened, we gotta go. So that could already be happening. Hold on. So Doctor Doom shows up, he's like, I'm gonna kill all the Kangs. Because that's also how they're gonna establish that he's super powerful. He's gonna kill all the Kangs.
Yeah.
At once.
He is going
That'll
to
be like
kill
the
all
first
the
season
Kangs.
he does. So he'll do that, but the multiverse will already be in danger. So he's gonna be like, okay, the multiverse is collapsing. I gotta make sure I'm in control of the Earth I'm on, which is like Earth 616. And he's gonna be like, I'm gonna assemble the evil Avengers from across the multiverse to help me take over this planet. And then he's gonna try to take over the Earth.
See, I think
the Avengers are gonna stop him. But then because of the multiverse collapse that's happening at the same time, and this will be like the two concurring storylines because we're going to break the characters up.
Yeah.
And so they'll be dealing with like these two separate things. And then because of that, he'll have gained the power to like merge the remaining universes together into Battle World and then be in control in Secret Wars. That sounds like a lot, but it's going to have to be a lot, whatever it is.
I think you're not entirely off. I just think the reason why the incursions are happening is Galactus. And I think...
But Galactus doesn't cause incursions.
But he does this time.
But like how?
Because he's from another universe.
So there's just like one Galactus.
And he's been... Yes. Because there was already that rumor floating around that he was going to be another... There's only one of him in the multiverse type guys.
Yeah.
And they'll just have it set up where he's been eating universes. He's been collapsing universes every time he goes there. Because you know what? We have that anchor being thing, right?
Yeah.
He's been...
Which I think they're just going to dump
They'll probably just ignore that.
Was that... Where was that introduced?
Deadpool.
Right. That's not going to be important.
I don't think that'll be super important.
They're just going to dump that.
But I think they can...
No.
I think the TVA can throw that out there as a reason for why Galactus is causing incursions.
Our team in Secret Wars is going to be made up of the anchor beings.
Sure. Yeah.
That's how...
But I think... And I think Dr. Doom or Victor Von Doom at this point is aware that this is happening. Yeah. Both him and Reed Richards are aware that this is happening. Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four try to stop Galactus their way. Meanwhile, Doom leaves. He's like, no, you're doing this all wrong. I'm going to go not be in the rest of this movie until the post-credits scene. Yeah. He dips. They try to stop Galactus. They fail. They dip to 616. In the post-credits scene, Dr. Doom tries to kill all the Kangs, gets burnt up real bad, takes one of their fallen pieces of armor and puts that on his face.
Burnt up?
No, because I think he's got to look like Robert Downey Jr. for a little bit.
Think he'll be burnt up so that he doesn't have to look like Robert Downey Jr., so that he doesn't have to film anything. He can just do voiceover.
Because we got to clap when they have his face on screen.
But you only have to do that like once or twice.
Yeah, so we'll do it at the beginning when he's still kind of nice.
Okay.
And then at the end, in the post-credit scene for Fantastic Four, he kills all the Kangs and he's like, we're doing this my way. Or whatever. Yeah. Right? And then... in Avengers Doomsday, he and the Fantastic Four show up on 616.
They will be the inciting incident.
Yes.
That'll be the movie that comes out right before this. Like, that's going to have to lead directly into...
Yes.
And the way that, like, Thor Ragnarok led directly into Infinity War, it'll have to be a similar thing.
Yeah, so... And that's why we set up Doom as the... killing all the Kangs in Fantastic Four. So that we're like, okay, this is the big guy now. And I think that's also the Marvel movie most likely to be seen by the most people.
100%.
Between Thunderbolts and this one.
Oh, yeah. It's going to make way more money.
I have something to say about Thunderbolts as well, because I also have an idea for how that's going to...
I don't think that's going to play in the slightest.
No, because Smash Bros. They're going to have characters get in envelopes with Avengers logos on them. And that's how we're going to decide who's in the team.
Everyone's on the team.
Yeah.
No,
but I think there's going to be a point, and I'm going to finish my Avengers thing in a second. This is real quick, Thunderbolts. I think Bucky is literally going to... Allegra de Fontaine is going to walk up with a letter and be like, oh, what's it? Sam sent you this, by the way, and he's gonna pick it up. It'll be a folder. He'll open it, and it'll just have a big Avengers A on it, and he'll be like, "Getting a gang back together," or whatever. Anyway,
so here's my thing, though.
So they're gonna show up. Then we're gonna have Doctor Doom starting to build his evil machine.
Whatever it is.
His evil machine.
There will be some sort of evil machine.
He'll start making his evil machine.
Because we've been teasing all of these little items that are supposedly important to some sort of evil machine that were obviously supposed to be part of the Kang storyline, but we just gotta morph that into this one.
Half of the Avengers are going to go and try and stop him from making his evil machine.
Yep.
The other half is going to work with the Fantastic Four to get the MacGuffins they need to do their good version of the plan.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie,
like some Thunderbolts people with them.
At the end of the movie, they fail to stop Doom and they fail to build the good machine.
Yep.
And the Doom machine goes off and it creates Battle World. And then that's where he brings in the Dark Avengers. That'll be like a one-off
They'll be like
battle.
his enforcers.
Yeah, they'll be like his enforcers on Battle World.
Because we know Chris Evans is back.
Yeah. Those will be his
Hemsworth
enforcers on Battle World. And then Galactus will show up. We'll have the big final battle. They'll beat Galactus, or...
No, they'll beat Doom. It'll be a big Doom fight.
They'll be fighting Galactus. Doom will absorb Galactus.
Doom will already have god powers at this point.
Yeah, but he'll absorb Galactus and be even more god powers. Because
Sure,
we got to give him his final
more
power.
More big lasers.
He'll shoot a big sky beam.
Oh,
the biggest freaking sky beam,
the sky beam
we've ever freaking seen.
Beams. Oh, I can't wait.
You guys think you've seen a sky beam before. You ain't seen no sky beam before. He's going to have a cosmic sky beam, and then all the Avengers got to come together with their ultimate nullifier that they finished building, and they use that to ultimately nullify Doom Galactus.
Yep.
And also
reset the
universe.
Which will soft reboot the entire thing.
And then post-credit scene, we have Professor X rolling around.
Yeah, and a new aged up T'Challa.
Yeah.
Okay, two things. One, part of this that I didn't see anyone talk about, and I just remembered in this concept art. Franklin Richards is in this?
Is?
Mm-hmm.
No, he's not.
And the rumor is that Invisible Woman is pregnant in Fantastic Four, and that'll completely line up.
No.
No, he is.
No, he's not.
Okay, if you look at the concept art, you know the part... You know the part where the picture that's got like evil Doctor Strange and Doom in like the throne room?
Yeah.
So Invisible Woman's in the back holding Franklin Richards. And part of the Secret Wars comic is that in Doom's Battle World, Invisible Woman is his wife.
Is Invisible Woman the
and
one...
Franklin Richards is his son.
Okay.
So he's part of this. He's going to be in these movies. And he can morph reality.
He doesn't get powers till after the movie.
I'm just saying this is a possibility. And then the other thing is that...
No, I'm saying he's not getting powers till after this movie. Because what do you even do with that?
He's got reality powers.
He makes Battle World? Why would he do that?
He could reverse it. And you make this like a father-son thing with him and with Mr.
That's
and
how they
you parallel
could fix
that
it.
with Spider-Man and Iron Man, because they're also got a father-son dynamic.
I could actually see
and
that.
And this entire movie, for no dumb reason at all, is going to be pinned on Tom Holland is sad because Dr. Doom looks like Tony Stark. Like, that's obvious what they're doing with this. So, okay, and then the other note I wanted to give
I could see that.
The Avengers, whoever they are, which we still don't really know, they're not important here. They're not our main characters. Secret Wars is going to be about our, whatever they're called, primal beings? Anchor beings.
Anchor beings.
Because we all know where this is inevitably leading. There is one piece of concept art that hasn't leaked that I know is on Kevin Feige's wall, okay? And it's what they've been building to for 20 years. It is a shot where Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Hugh Jackman Wolverine, and Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man are all standing in the same frame. That is where we're going. That is where we've been going. That is the culmination of not the MCU story, but the story of Marvel movies themselves.
You think
that is where we're going?
Tony Stark Iron Man is going to be in this?
100%. Yes. RDJ's already there. You just get a variant that looks like him. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying those three actors standing in a frame dressed as their characters. That is where we're going. The important characters here are going to be Tom Holland Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Hugh Jackman Wolverine, and then like Captain America, Wesley Snipes Blade, like guys from the multiverse. Because that is the whole reason we're doing all of this. is to bring back these old beloved actors for one last ride where they finally get to be in the big MCU movie and cross over with the other characters that they never got to meet before we finally reset all of this and it's all in one big universe. Like, that is where we're going. So the anchor beings from Secret Wars, which will be a hodgepodge of characters from movies for the last 30 years, they're the real Avengers. Whoever our Avengers are in Doomsday, it's just going to be everyone. Every character from the MCU since the start of Phase 3 is just going to be running around in that movie willy-nilly.
But why is the Hulk in Attack on Titan?
Oh, in Hulk Village?
Why is there a big wall?
It's him and She-Hulk and Scar.
Well, no, it's Hulkling.
Is that Hulkling or Scar?
Well, they introduced Hulkling, and they have not introduced Scar.
Scar is his son from She-Hulk.
Scar is a random guy that the Hulk kind of knows.
Isn't Scar? I thought his son's name was Scar. Hulkling's
No,
not
his
his son.
son's name is Hulkling.
Hulkling is not his son.
Scar is like a multiverse
Hulkling is a Skrull.
sword-wielding guy.
No.
Who's unrelated. Who teams up with Hulk a lot, but is not related to him.
Very wrong.
Sure, that's...
Scar is not Hulkling. Hulkling is
Oh.
a completely
Who's
unrelated
Hulkling?
character. Hulkling is a Skrull.
That's stupid.
Not going to be in this yet.
Yeah, never mind.
Oh,
Wait, Gaia, we forgot.
but it's those three in Hulk Village.
Is Gaia gonna be in this?
No, she will never be mentioned in the MCU ever again.
That seems...
And you know what? Me and you will be the only people that ever bring that up because no one even remembers that show.
She has every power.
It'll be a fun thing for us to criticize when the movie comes out that they didn't even mention that character. And then we'll tell that to our friends, and our friends will be like, I don't even know who that is. They won't even understand the complaint because they won't even know the show existed.
I legitimately think...
There will never be a less consequential show to the MCU than Secret Wars.
I legitimately think the post-credit scene for Thunderbolts will be the longest post-credit scene in the MCU so far. And I'm only partially joking when I say this. I think literally Super Smash Brothers style.
Just everyone's getting envelopes.
We're going to see everyone get an envelope from Sam Wilson, and it'll be like... It'll play the Avengers riff, and it'll be like a montage of all of the Avengers opening their letters.
The end of Age of Ultron was them all like the new Avengers all standing in that room.
Yeah.
I think you could do something similar. Where it's like, again, my idea was, we talked about this when Brave New World came out, is it's just like they walk into a room and there's like a big A on a table and they're like, all right, who we got? And there's just hologram pictures of whoever the team is.
I thought
your letter idea isn't completely ridiculous, like genuinely. The only thing is like logistically, you have to film with all those people.
So that's what I was thinking, but then I was like, wait, that's just dumb enough that's exactly what.
Because I would say that'd be possible if they had already started shooting Doomsday, because they'd already be there, but they haven't yet, so they haven't been able to get all those people.
You know what it'll be? You know that scene in Iron Man when he's looking at footage of like the Hulk and a bunch of other random guys, even though it's like, how did he get that footage? That's from the movies. That doesn't make any sense for him to have that.
It's news cameras.
Yeah, Sam Wilson will be in a room, and there will be a bunch of TVs.
You know what?
And it'll be footage of every one of the guys.
You know what would be amazing?
And he'll be like, "We've got a lot of work to do."
An amazing post-credit scene would be it's Sam Wilson sitting in a room, and he just watches all of the MCU movies that no one watched in their entirety.
Just so everyone is caught up.
Thunderbolts is 7.5 hours long. And they just play like Eternals, just to recap everyone who's there.
Yeah.
I think there is a genuine possibility that a lot of characters just don't even show up in these movies just because there's not space for them. I don't think we're going to see Black Knight or the Midnight Suns.
Oh, yeah, no.
Or...
No, not characters that have not... Every character that has shown up in costume.
I don't think we're going to see the Eternals at all.
Eternals won't be there. But I think except for the Eternals, every Marvel character that has been in costume will be there.
Endgame.
Since Endgame, yeah. So She-Hulk will be there.
Oh yeah, she's in the concept art.
Wonder Woman will.
Shang-Chi.
All of them.
Elena
if they have a
Belova,
super suit and they're not the Eternals,
Sam Wilson,
they will be there.
Everyone.
You know what? No, one of the Eternals will be there.
Which one?
Cersei.
Because she's the main one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, could be her, and then like
the other ones are fighting crime in another.
Who are the other ones that are alive? It's her.
Icarus dies.
Icarus is dead.
Because he fulfills his myth, but like 1,000.
Yeah, it's very stupid. So but dumb. She's alive. Barry Keoghan's character is alive.
Was he the one who did the
like the mind control one.
Oh, no, he's not gonna be there. He's too weird.
Makari is alive, who's the one that runs fast.
It'll probably be those two.
And then Fina, who's Angelina Jolie. I think they're the only ones who are still alive. Oh, and then the one that's a kid.
Yeah,
Sprite. It won't be a kid anymore. That was my favorite scene in that movie when they're like, Sprite, you don't have to be a kid anymore because you can age by the time the sequel comes out.
No, she's not. I think if any of them do show up, it'll be Cersei.
It'll probably just be Cersei, and then like one of the other ones.
It'll be the one that runs fast.
One that's not busy that day.
Because people...
Barry Keoghan's got work lined up.
People like the scenes where she runs fast.
Yeah.
And there will be one scene where she runs fast in the fight where they're fighting.
Oh, what about Harry Styles? Okay, but you gotta keep in mind, by far the most marketable of them all. Played by the most famous guy there. You like, I don't know. You would have to introduce that character in the movie.
Is he the post-credit scene?
No. That would be, I would cheer.
Is
Sam,
Marvel dumb enough?
If Eros shows up in any of the upcoming Disney Plus shows, or for this year, or Thunderbolts or Fantastic Four, I will pay you $20 and I will stand up in the theater. I will clap like a trained seal at Harry Styles.
$40 if it's him and the
troll deal. If it's him and the Patton Oswalt troll, deal.
What even was why?
Eternals 2. Never gonna happen, but Eternals 2. That's all that was for. I love that that movie has some of the worst and most ham-fisted, like, we're gonna do a sequel setup out of all of them.
And it is the least likely to ever get a sequel.
And it's so weird because that was the one they were gonna, like, they were trying to push as, like, this is a real, like, a movie that should win Academy Awards. Like, they were trying to make that movie, like, Oscar bait.
Sex in Marvel movies.
Yeah, and, like, a third of it is just, like, we got Harry Styles in Eternals 2. It's like, why are you putting this one?
Okay.
Anyway.
Why didn't you just make him a guy in the movie?
Other stuff in this concept art. A recast Black Panther or a variant played by a different actor. It doesn't look like it's anyone specifically.
I think that'll be T'Chaka from another universe.
I think it could just be a different version of T'Challa.
I don't think they would do that.
It would be weird.
Not right now.
I think it's weird to bring in a new one altogether. I feel like if you have Shuri, like, and just write out these two movies with Shuri as Black Panther, I don't think anyone's gonna be mad about that. And then when you reset the movie after Secret Wars, they're gonna age up T'Challa Jr.
If they do that, that will be in that'll be like when they're cutting to a bunch of superheroes who have been recast. Yeah.
That could be the end. Is like, oh look, T'Challa's
and we'll have Tom Holland's Spider-Man giving a voiceover about it's the family you choose, not the family you've got.
He's the main character. People gotta keep that in mind too.
He'll be giving his inspirational speech, and it'll be just cutting to a bunch of random, well-known locations and characters, but they've been recast.
Or like slight changes, or they're back to normal or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of this stuff is gonna stick around. Like they're not gonna recast everybody.
Hulk will be the same. Thor will probably be the same.
It's gonna depend. Like the main thing is like the reason they got to recast all these guys is because they're getting old.
Yeah.
So it depends on who's going to stick around. I will say it's going to be funny because Tom Holland is going to be the main character. Peter Parker is going to be the main character of these movies.
Yeah, he's got to be for this.
And it's hilarious because he's not going to be in Doomsday. Like his face will not appear. Like he will just be doing voiceover. And I don't know how much he's going to be in Secret Wars because he's going to be shooting the Odyssey for like another 4 months. So I don't know. And Spider-Man 4. He's got to shoot all this crap. Like
okay, well, Spider-Man 4 is just gonna happen after this stuff.
No, it's coming out in between these two movies.
Okay, then they will film it at the same time.
And it's not gonna move. They can't move it because it's Sony decides when that comes out.
Oh, wait a minute. No, that's just when we'll do all that stuff.
What do you mean?
That's where we do the Doom origin story.
In Spider-Man 4.
Yes.
Which comes out after Doomsday.
Yes.
That sounds like a genius idea, Sam.
Oh, it's a terrible idea. It's a god-awful idea. But where else are we going to have time?
I think they're just going to shove a tiny bit into Fantastic Four, and then they're going to spend a lot of time on it in Doomsday. And okay.
I think we'll show how big and bad he is.
In theory, I mean, we don't know Thanos' origin really until Infinity War.
Yeah, but they didn't have the guy write his own whole backstory, though.
Huh?
So, like,
Robert Downey Jr.'s using Robert Downey Jr.'s backstory. He's just doing weird actor stuff. They're going to write some dumb comic book crap.
I think Doomsday is just going to be showing how big and bad he is, and then we'll get his backstory in Spider-Man, because we got to set up that father-son dynamic thing that we're doing, and then that'll all conclude in
I think we
Secret
got to
Wars.
keep in mind is that they're going to try to frame this...
And Black Suit.
They're going to frame... They're not doing Black Suit.
Oh, they're doing Black Suit.
Not in the... They're going to do that in Spider-Man 4. They're not going to do that in the movie.
Yeah, but I'm saying in Secret Wars, he will be wearing that black suit.
Maybe for a minute.
For the final battle, he will be wearing.
I think it's more likely that just Tom Hardy Venom shows up.
We got to sell the action
I think it's more likely
figure.
that Tom Hardy Venom shows up than him in the black suit.
Action figure.
That's why I think they're going to do the black suit stuff in the 4 Spider-Man movie. Because this is also the last chance to do multiverse crap, because we're done after this. So we got to do the Tom Hardy crossover while we still can. I think he's coming. I think he's in Spider-Man 4. I think Tom Hardy Venom is in Spider-Man 4. 100%. I think that's definitely where we're going. I don't know what else you do with that movie.
You do half Doctor Doom movie. That's what
Well, because they can't make a normal Spider-Man movie. They've gone too big with it. They can't go back. They have to do weird multiverse garbage. And how you do that is portal opened and Tom Hardy ran through and he's got the symbiote on him. They're going to fight. Like, that's what you do with Spider-Man 4. It also can't be that consequential because it has to come out between Doomsday and Secret Wars, which means either it's going to have to take place between those movies, which would be a nightmare, or before.
So are we thinking Doctor Doom puts Venom on the Dark Avengers?
No.
And then Spider-Man has to fight him in Spider-Man movie.
In Secret Wars?
Mm-hmm.
I do think Secret Wars is going to be, look at all of these CG villains from various movies we've made over the past 25 years, all running in a big field, and they're running at all the heroes from the past 25 years. It's the end of Endgame, but everyone is a character you've seen from a movie in
Wait a minute,
2007.
yeah, no, the Dark Avengers have to be the villains.
No, they are. They're going to be in Secret Wars or Doomsday.
No, I mean like the villains from the MCU movies.
You mean like the characters?
Yes, like Ant-Man has to fight Yellow Jacket again.
No.
Yeah.
No, I think maybe.
Obadiah Stane
But I think the main
comes
thing
back.
is going to be like,
Yeah.
it's Captain Hydra and he's Chris Evans. Like, I think that's going to be the main thing.
No, Red Skull comes back.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the Dark Avengers will literally be
Okay,
their villains.
I think the Dark Avengers are going to be the Thunderbolts.
No, the Evil Avengers.
The Evil Avengers in Secret Wars is going to be, we've got all of the old actors and now they're bad.
I think...
There's no point in doing that otherwise. Because the whole reasoning behind that is we've brought back all of these actors that you know and love, and they're the old friends, but they're bad now and they got to fight the new characters.
No, because I think Battleworld can just have the dead heroes on it. And then we have them fight their villains from the old movies.
But they wouldn't do that.
I think they would do that.
I think that would be like, you can't do that because it sells out the new characters. If the movie is, we brought all the new characters in and their big threat is resolved by the old characters coming back and solving it for them,
in
that
Infinity
neuters them
War,
completely.
We killed all the new characters and had only the old characters for the last movie.
But also the old characters were the main characters at that point. Endgame was saying bye to that cast. So if you bring them back and they just save the day, that's basically admitting failure.
I'm not saying they're going to save I'm saying they'll just also be there.
But that'd be lame. No one wants that.
Yeah, Kevin Feige wants that.
No, Kevin Feige wants the audience is going to go crazy when Captain America kills someone.
I think it's more likely that it would be all the villains versus all the heroes.
And then at the end, OG Cap can come back and be like, "Hey guys, your old friend, and we're all going to stand in a line, and I'm going to say Avengers
less old
Assemble."
now for some reason.
It's fine. Secret Battle World crap. He's not old anymore. It's fine. And he'd be like, Avengers Assemble. We're all in a line.
But that's what I'm thinking. It'd be just like have.
And we're gonna punch the evil versions of ourselves.
But you're proposing the exact same thing I'm proposing. You're just having the bad guys also be evil.
Yeah, because that's what
versions of them. I'm saying bring the heroes back, but also all their villains back.
I think they're gonna do all of it.
Both?
Yes, I think. You know the big army at the end of Endgame where it's like aliens?
Yeah.
It's that, but hey, look, Obadiah Stane's back there. Hey, look, the villain from Elektra 2006 is there.
Yeah, I think it'll be a big army of every character that's
It'll
ever
just be
been
like
in a movie.
Doombots, and then we're just going to sprinkle in
like
the actual
Yellow
named
Jacket will be there
protagonists,
and stuff. Yeah, but I think
if they're going to blow whatever load can be blown, they're going to
because there has to be a scene.
This is the desperate movie. This is to throw everything at the wall. We got to make $2 billion, and it's not going to make.
There has to be a scene where every hero there's the big pile of fight.
The big pile of fight.
In the fight pile.
The fight pile.
The camera has to zoom, and we have to see each hero punching their
opposite
specific villain from whatever movie that was the first movie they were in. So we have to have
Willem Dafoe is back as Green Goblin.
Spider-Man is punching Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
And Hulk is punching Abomination.
Yep.
And Ant-Man is punching Yellow Jacket. And they're all got to punch their guy. Yep. And Rescue is punching someone. Doombot.
She's punching.
Who cares?
FDA laws.
Yeah. She's punching good medical practices.
Good medical practices.
But because like in order for that to work, you have to have all the villains. I think there will be.
Oh, I think they will be CG ghouls of whatever their actors are, and if they have a mask, they'll have it on because they won't actually.
Yeah, exactly.
This movie is going to be a series of green screen actors who are not in the same room together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think having the focus be on the father-son dynamic
for the most part.
As the emotional core, I think that's a smart move.
I don't think it's going to work. I want to clarify. I do not think these movies are going to be good. I think this is going to be a lot of just trying stuff and throwing crap out there and hoping something works.
I think there's like a 20% chance that this movie's good.
Will I inevitably kind of be swept up when, like I said, Tobey Maguire, Hugh Jackman, and Robert Downey Jr. are on screen together? Of course I am. Like,
if Wolverine
that's human nature.
And Tobey Maguire and Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. stand together in a line,
and he goes shink, and he goes,
and they do their thing, and then Iron Man his mask goes down, and you go, Avengers assemble, and then it plays the theme song from Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and they fight all the guys.
If they play the Earth's Mightiest Heroes theme song, that is the one time I will stand.
I will bust a nut in the
dude. Same. Like, honestly, everyone else will be confused. I will be like, yes.
Because you know what? They did it with X-Men.
That theme song is a banger. It is so
good.
Oh.
And they did the X-Men one. They keep doing the X-Men one.
Top 2 superhero cartoon theme song of all time.
Yeah, right there behind X-Men.
Yeah. The best one with lyrics by far.
Oh, for sure. I can't even think of another one that has lyrics. The new Spider-Man one?
Iron Man Armored Adventures?
That one sucks. Terrible song.
Yeah.
If there is a scene, and if it like kind of looks the same as the theme, you know, with because you know how in that theme song they fight the robots, that never actually show up in the show.
They're like the beginning of the
whatever
episode.
Those guys are.
Some stuff up.
Yeah,
guys. Yeah.
If the choreography kind of looks the same, dude. I would never recover.
Kevin Feige, if you want to make a movie for me and me alone,
you already did it with Deadpool.
Yeah.
Give us one more.
Put the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes theme song.
You know what? You don't even have to do the lyrics. Just the riff. Just
that guitar riff.
Yeah. You know? Just the thing, just the sound. Do it. Come on, do it. Song.
Anyway, we got to stop talking about this.
Yeah, we've been talking about this way too long now.
Everyone, how long have we been going?
That.
How long have we been going? Like 2 hours?
We're at 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a little bit of time for Daredevil.
Let's touch on it real quick.
I don't have that much to say about Daredevil.
Yeah, only 2 episodes are out as of recording this. The third one will be out tonight.
My phone's gonna die here in a minute.
All right, cool. Solid start. I think it's fine. I'm interested. Let's not spoil it.
I think it's very obviously not as good as early Daredevil.
Yeah, which I don't. I did not.
Never going to be.
I did not expect it to be. And Daredevil, the original show, is probably the best comic book show ever made.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any way you can have a Daredevil revival that is as good, because you can't. There's so much history with these characters.
Yeah.
Especially because it is a direct continuation of the show.
Yeah.
There's no way to convey all of that history to the audience.
Yeah, because
in a way that is emotionally satisfying.
Most of the people watching this have not seen that show.
Yeah. For those that have, it probably hits a lot harder.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
there's some pretty major stuff that goes on.
Understanding the philosophy behind Daredevil, I think, is very important. I think, especially for this first episode.
Touch on it more, hopefully.
They'll definitely
the religious stuff with his character, because that's a big part of that character in general.
Yeah, he's very Catholic.
His Catholic guilt.
Yeah, and the whole dynamic between him and especially Punisher, and especially how that dynamic has changed after the events of this first episode, which again I won't get specific.
Punisher is not in these first 2 episodes.
No, he's not there, but they have a philosophical
disagreement
in the original Daredevil show, and the dynamic behind that disagreement has now been shaken up. And so to see how that manifests is going to be interesting.
Just quick things. Action is fine. A little too much CG Daredevil flipping around.
Yeah, and CGI mask. Why was the mask CGI?
I don't know. Just because they're Disney and they can't help themselves.
Dumb.
Charlie Cox is great.
Of course.
Amazing Daredevil. So is Vincent D'Onofrio, obviously,
of course.
Kingpin.
Fantastic.
The stuff with him as mayor, I didn't think I would like as much as I did.
It actually works better.
They're actually doing some interesting stuff with that.
I think it works better now because of what happened in real life.
I think even beyond that, I just think because it's like you hear that that's going to be plotline, and you're like, how the heck would this guy get elected?
And then
I think it could have used a little more time, but I think the second episode in particular, dealing with the fact that like, yeah, a lot of people really hate him and like don't want to work for him.
But
I think that's realistic, and I think that keeps the show grounded, and I think that's a really
and I
cool
think
way to go with
having him kind of be a populist, doesn't play by the rules, quick and break stuff type candidate. I think that and they're not being like very hand-fisted with the commentary, which I think is smart, and I think that actually gives it more nuance than it probably would have otherwise.
Yeah. I will say I am not in love with him and his wife having to go to marriage counseling.
I think that's stupid.
I think it's not very well set up.
And I think that doesn't really line up with what we've seen from these characters thus far.
Yeah.
However, the drama's so good. We got Daredevil dating the marriage counselor, and they're seeing the marriage counselor, and he's representing a vigilante, and she's their counselor, and she can't tell him what's going on with them, but they're dating, and he's got a case going on, and that's probably going to affect their marriage, and that's going to that's going to affect her, and he's also the mayor. The drama, the setup for the drama, TLC level. Ain't never seen drama like this in a Marvel show.
But yeah, other than that, I'm just interested to see where this goes. It makes some bold, creative decisions.
Oh, yeah.
That I actually commend them for. Because as much as I might personally not fully agree with some of them, like...
That takes crazy
And at least
balls.
is an idea, and like they have a direction they want to go with it.
Yeah.
Which is more than I can say for like a lot of MCU stuff, where they're just kind of like going through the motions.
They had a good idea first, and then made a show.
But I think all of the actors are great. There's some good action. The action scene in episode 2 is a lot better. At the end of episode 2, I think is stronger.
Does Daredevil show up in?
Yes. Yeah, he'll be there. I'm not gonna do anything.
Yeah, he'll be in the fight pile.
He's just gonna be he'll be in the fight pile. Like I'm not joking. Like I was same Punisher. Like
every single character will be in the fight pile.
Yeah, of course. No, if that's the point of the fight pile.
Yeah, every single person who has touched like a makeup kit.
Yeah,
will be in the fight pile.
At who's not going to be in the fight pile?
Black Widow might not be in the fight pile.
I think she'll be back though. I think they're bringing Scarlett Johansson back 100%. Wanda won't be there. Dead. And I don't think she's coming back.
No, she'll be in the fight pile.
I don't think so. I think she's gone.
Because her and White Vision have to have a scene.
No. White Vision will be there. I don't think she'll be there. Do you have other pictures? Venom will be in the fight pile, maybe.
Wong definitely in the fight pile.
Wong for some reason
he'll be in this movie.
For some reason, a main character.
He'll be like the second most important character in this movie.
Oh, Guardians will be there. I forgot to mention them. They're just going to be in the background. I don't think they're going to do anything.
Will King Kong be there?
Potentially. I'm just kidding.
They've had crossovers.
There will be some big monkey. I promise you that.
There will be a big monkey.
So there's got to be big monkey.
There's always a big monkey.
Other than that,
will Top Gun Maverick be there?
Maybe in Secret Wars 2. No, I do think it'd be fun to talk about where this goes when that's all done, but I think that's a topic for another.
Yeah, that's a
much. But Daredevil, I'm interested to see where it goes. We'll probably talk about more when.
Yeah, the setup.
Up.
I really like the setup. I think the potential drama of the setup is very interesting.
I'd like to see how they steer this, because they could drop the ball completely. But
yeah, this could crash and burn. It could go either way at this point.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
I think it's the best Marvel show they've probably made, in live action wise, for like.
Okay, there's only 2 episodes out, and Loki's really good.
Oh, since Loki, yeah.
Yeah.
Since Loki.
But, yeah. It has potential.
Could be the best one.
It has potential.
For that original show. Incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw season 3, but...
I watched the first couple episodes of it,
That's-
and then I was like, I don't know what's going on because we abandoned everything we were doing in season 2, and so now I'm confused. And then I didn't.
You should. It's worth it.
He was very sad, and he was like punching
real upset.
tables or something.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's gonna do it for this week. We had to cover a lot because we missed last week, but we'll be back for whatever happens, whatever news breaks at 1:00 in the morning during while we're recording.
As soon as we cut, something will break.
Something will break.
Something will happen.
I don't think there's anything major going on this week.
Crocs and
There's a
Fortnite.
lot of movies coming out, but apparently they're all.
Invincible season
bad.
2 has been.
Oh, Invincible's wrapping
good.
up this week.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about
the
that
finale
next.
of Invincible.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And then more
Severance.
Daredevil. Severance
continues to be good. I haven't seen the most recent episode.
2 episodes left.
Yeah, but that show is consistently amazing.
Peak TV. But yeah, I'm Tucker. This is Sam. McDonCast. See you next week. Bye bye.